or maybe just like Jonah Hill, as a matter of fact, in an abusive relationship with his wife.
Worse. They want to force everybody else to live by these rules and aren't willing to do it themselves.
Oh yeah. Whoa! I haven't seen that one.
Your sushi's here, by the way. I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
You want to eat?
I didn't see that one. I didn't see the anti-Asian.
Oh, you didn't see that? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Dream of non-crack holes at a Motel 6.
Been in the news a lot lately.
This is a dangerous man.
It's pandering a little bit.
One of them racists. Horrible working conditions.
It was venomous.
It's disgusting and it is vile.
Do you believe it's plausible that Steven Crowder is just a monster?
Oh my god.
Got her saying.
Wait, Candace Owens literally said Jonah Hill was doing the right thing, but fucking was ripping into Steven Crowder when he was abusing his wife. Interesting. Candace Owens, many nuances there. Maybe she's just like me because I think Steven Crowder is abusive.
There's not enough information.
Yeah.
On
surprised that she didn't say Steven Crowder was objectively in the right. I wonder why. I wonder why she didn't say that. So you agree with Steven Crowder on? Candace on all points.
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
I don't agree with Candace Owens when she said Jonah Hill is in the right. What the fuck is happening? Oh my god.
It's great editing.
Jobber's a great editor as well, yeah.
There's nothing I love more than bad stand-up comedy. Nothing fascinates me as much as watching some overconfident drunk idiot get up in front of a packed crowd on open mic night and just letting it rip.
Yeah. You want to make out?
We want 55 cents. You think I'm Indian girl? Douchebag, you know what? Sits in the front of the crowd.
It's almost incredible how bad you are at this.
I don't think enough people appreciate the genuine level of intellect, timing, and planning that goes into crafting a well-thought-out joke. It's a talent, and it's not hard to see who has it and who doesn't.
I'll bake some Mexican cookies, and you go over there, I'm like, what the fuck's a Mexican cookie? What are you talking about? It's like a chocolate chip with salsa all over it? What are you talking about?
Not everyone is cut out for such an industry, but that doesn't keep them from trying.
So I drove here. Notice a really disturbing trend in cars nowadays. I don't know if you folks have seen these dream catchers. Is this thing working? Okay, thank you, sir.
If your stand-up career doesn't work out, that's okay. You can always pivot to selling overpriced
cool.
mugs and t-shirts that totally don't have slurs written on them.
The Che Guevara Socialism is for Figs t-shirt.
If you found yourself spewing incoherent drivel to make up for an evident lack of talent...
Okay, to be fair, his Cenk Uygur skit was objectively funny. It was probably the only funny time.
Found yourself spewing incoherent...
Have you seen that?
That's this? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this Steven Crowder, okay, fun fact, and I said this like back when I was at TYT. Fun fact, Steven Crowder literally built a career off of shitting on the Young Turks. He was another one of those like orbiter haters, like unhinged TYT haters that basically built a career for himself. There was an entire cottage industry around like back in the day, pre-Gamergate and like post-Gamergate. Back in the day, there was an entire fucking segment of like right-wing content creators that made a living for themselves by shitting on the Young Turks. Okay? That's all they did. I have my own version of this as well. Some of them still shit on me from back when I was at the Young Turks as well. That's why you can always figure out who they are when they come into the chat and go, Cenk's nephew. I bet you don't serve top of the hour ad breaks for 3 minutes. I bet Cenk's nephew. But they're wrong. I do serve a top of the hour ad break that's 3 minutes long. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, or by getting gifted a sub if you're lucky. Okay? Get fucking fucked. Yeah, Brown Fabio insult era. They used to call me Brown Fabio, which is weird because like...
What does that mean? Oh, you had long hair?
No, I didn't. They were just saying like I'm a model.
Yeah, that's not an insult. Just saying you're hot.
I know, dude. They were saying I was like an airhead sexy guy, which is weird because Fabio now is like a right-wing commentator. So I bet they fucking think he's really smart now.
Did you hear he killed a bird with his head?
Yeah, on a roller coaster. Yeah,
Have you done that, Hassan?
I do remember that, dude. He's so hot. Anyway, he has a very strong and large head, just like myself. Shut up, Axel. Thank you for the 5. Get the subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Drivel to make up for an evident lack of talent, then your name might be Steven Crowder, a man who refers to underage girls as slutty, tweets about wanting to have sex with his mom, I guess, and threatens his pregnant wife when he thinks no one is watching.
I love you, but Steven, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it.
Steven
I love
was
that.
once a leading figure
Watch
of
it.
the online conservative movement, respected by his peers and adored by his audience, until a series of allegations made by former friends, family, and colleagues tarnished his good name, even in the eyes of fans. His own comment sections have gone from endearing words of support
doesn't work for
to
me
complete
either.
disdain just over the past month alone. But if you've been following Steven as long as I have, then you know these instances are just as much horrifying as they are consistent with his public persona. A wannabe comedian who failed so hard at his craft that he sought out alternative means to fulfill his incessant
really bad,
need to be liked, being paid millions to sow chaos and contribute to what...
Like, I love comedy, okay? I do. And, you know, I'm coming out as a fan of comedy, okay? So, let me tell you something. Sometimes, if, like, a right-wing dude has, like, a funny moment, okay, I'll hand it to them. I'll be like, you know, I fucking hate this guy, but this was pretty funny. Steven Crowder has never had one of those moments.
No.
I guess with the exception of the Jank skit that I was talking about. That was like the last time he was like kind of funny.
Everything about him is so insecure. Like the gun props all over.
Yeah.
It's like he wears like a holster while he's
No,
sitting
dude,
at
that's
his
what
desk.
real men do, brother. You don't understand.
What makes political spaces so poisonous in the first place. But before we get to all of that, we do have a sponsor, Bespoke Post. Bespoke Post. Unfortunately, back to this guy. I've actually known about Steven Crowder for a long time, considering when I was 14, I used to watch Steven's videos.
Oh, no.
I know. Okay, don't come for me yet. Let me explain. I was brought up in a Christian conservative household, and when I was given internet access, I wanted to watch somebody who said things I was used to hearing regarding guns, climate change, and Obama. Not that I actually understood any of those issues, but at 14, I didn't care about challenging my perspective on the world. I wanted somebody who would reinforce it, someone who would validate it. And Steven Crowder was that. Steven's shallow dichotomy of Republican good, Democrat bad, satisfied the confirmation bias I was at the time searching for. And that's ultimately one of the things Steven is best at, presenting a right-leaning perspective in a way that's easy for the youth to digest. In fact, he's long been accredited for putting a young face on conservatism, which is different from the old white guy club that people see too often.
Slightly younger
according
white
to
guy.
Chris Lash, a friend of Steven's and husband of NR.
That's awesome.
Yeah, wow.
That's no, Dana Loesch
and local psycho who wants
Dana Loesch's husband looks like that.
Kind of awesome.
Dude, I mean, Dana Loesch is a cutie. Good for him.
Yeah.
compared gun owners to rape
punched up.
victims, Dana Lash. Another writer critical of Steven echoed a similar sentiment when he told the Daily Beast in 2013, Steven's being promoted because he provides a very good face for the right wing to reassure its older generation that 20-somethings don't really support gay marriage and aren't concerned about income inequality. In the beginning, Steven carved out a niche for himself where he could be easily seen as a more modern breed of conservative, while still very much holding the same views as an older generation of pundits that were being increasingly seen as out of touch. Steven could reach young people in a way that Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh no longer could.
866 Gold Line. My N-word.
Really? Because Steven wasn't strictly a political guy.
That's all,
no, he
that's
actually denounced
crazy.
that label
That's
from
awesome.
the very beginning.
That would reach a young audience.
I did not know that he did that. That's wild.
Steven Crowder has always been a self-described cultural person, whatever that means, and would rather think of himself first and foremost as an actor and, of course, comedian. Sorry, but I'm making you watch a stand-up with me. If I had to see it, so do you, motherfucker.
Oh, please.
And I don't want don't say if you take the Greyhound bus, you're ugly, but if you're ugly, you take the Greyhound bus. Joy Behar is so mind-numbingly stupid that you could be sitting across from her, talking with her,
He's
and
so
not even
camp
having the
in
same
his comedy.
conversation.
I think that's what he's trying to.
Is he making that his joke?
This debt is getting out of control. I don't think that we should be passing it down to our children. I know! Like my ex-husband never used to wash his feet! No, I mean, I'm just saying that, we're passing a debt down onto our children that they can. I know! I love blueberry pancakes!
Keep in mind, this is the kind of stuff he whips out when he really needs a laugh. Well, that are his nuts, apparently, but we'll get to that later. This might shock you, but Steven isn't exactly known for a comedy that challenges the way we think.
Oh, I love this one. This was actually funny.
Yeah, this was fire. Okay, he's being a hater.
Yeah, I like this.
Because he did shart.
Yeah.
And also, it's funny to do this. It's so bad. This is one of those where it's like, it's so bad it loops around and is good again.
Yeah.
Where like all of his other shit is like so try hard and so unfunny that you can't even look at it and be like, well, this is so bad it's funny.
Biden sharts, Biden sharts.
Most of his act consists of making pretty mundane observations.
You guys seen this? It's a Native American Indian contraption, consists of wooden hoops and feathers, supposed to help you sleep soundly.
Getting cheap applause from an audience that already agrees with his politics.
Herman Cain. There you go.
9/11.
And finding ways to show off his world-renowned impressions of other races, which honestly he still can't really do.
So you get these Middle Eastern wannabe thugs. You're nice people, but you can't pull off the thug look. Like, oh, you know what? I am going to mess you up.
And then does a very
And then-
bad Indian accent.
What the fuck? Dude. No, one thing that I've consistently talked about with his accents is like he only has one black guy voice.
Yep.
And it's Chris Tucker. And it's always Chris Tucker. Like he doesn't do anything else.
The thing is, this kind of racism is the best kind, because if you're bad at accents, then it's even showing like even the biggest like losers from the white races like dunking on you. You know, like I feel like they find it more entertaining.
Yeah, like us.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, check out the German white boy. I want my nut on the left side. Yes, that's the crit side. They're cruising down the street for chicks like.
I won't show you anymore because I am against cruel and unusual punishment, but
That's
for what
so
it's worth,
bad.
part
That's
2 of his
really
act only got
embarrassing.
about 20% of the views that his first part got. So if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about his theater skills, maybe we should take a look at his IMDb page where you can
come
read
on.
He's an
about his
actor.
breakout role
Please,
on
no.
He was in Arthur.
What's that?
Yeah.
Well, like
Who
Arthur
did
the
he play?
cartoon.
Yeah. He was a voice actor in Arthur the cartoon.
You ready for this? Get ready.
How old is he?
Arthur.
He always gave me
Like a little
drama
older.
king vibes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's hard to believe my first.
Yeah, see?
Think of me
Oh,
if
this
I ever
Arthur.
got
Oh, the
anything
loser.
Wrong.
Yes, it's
lame
hard to
man.
believe my first exposure to this man was when he voiced the Brain on a show my sister and I grew up watching. And to make it even more surreal, one of the episodes is literally about Brain trying to become a comedian and failing.
Now that things have changed, I need to be practical and train myself for a new career in comedy.
You're going to be a
God, I know too much about this Steven Crowder's background.
This is an amazing,
We watched all of
amazingly
this.
researched video.
crazy.
We watched all of these
Just
videos on
and willing to
stream.
face facts. No use crying over spilt milk.
Stop him! You've got to do something fast.
It's the same as Crowder's jokes
He
now.
humiliates himself.
Ironically, Steven was predicting the rest of his career with this one, as he struggled to find work outside of Arthur, with the exception of a few minor roles in the late 2000s, including the jock character in a PureFlix movie and an appearance in the feature film directed by his brother Jordan, where he pretty much just plays himself.
It's a double standard. It's like the women's rights thing is a double standard. Like, now they have, but now we're not allowed to hit them?
Steven's media career wasn't exactly popping off in the way he may have hoped, but that's not to say there wasn't an audience for his.
He should have just done gay porn like Michael Knowles.
Yes.
Have you
Hell yeah.
seen that?
No.
But I was just saying yesterday you should have done
Gay porn. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You guys are just riding for gay.
Yeah,
hell
porn.
yeah.
It's
More
like
people-
It's
more
like
people should do
more
it.
gay porn. Michael Knowles famously, also is a loser, failed actor. And he was like a gay guy in like a college movie, like a student movie that they made. It's really bad. We
Style
watched
of
that as well.
Entertainment. See, despite growing up in Canada, Stephen was always interested in American politics, and it was only a matter of time before Stephen launched his own YouTube channel, weighing in on whatever political matters were relevant at the time.
You really can't find anything funny about this administration when Joe freaking Biden is vice president?
He's doing Smosh.
What? What? It's like having Rain Man as vice president. Yeah. Definitely make a better VP than Joe Biden. Hillary Clinton, Rain Man make better VP than Joe Biden.
This stuff was so quality. Stephen eventually caught the attention of Big Hollywood. No, not Hollywood. Big Hollywood was an affiliate of Breitbart News, the fringe right-wing news website accredited for giving your grandparents a computer virus. Turns out Breitbart and PJTV.
I used to work with a guy, PJ, that literally went to Guantanamo Bay with Steven Crowder. They went to Guantanamo Bay to talk about how sick it is, like how cool and wonderful the conditions are there, I think.
I'd never even heard of that one. We're pretty big fans of what Stephen was doing over on YouTube in 2008. And don't worry, I took the liberty of diving into the dark vat of Stephen's old content, so you don't have to.
Rise! Pelosi on Elm Street. The nightmare continues.
Now, whether Stephen wants to admit it or not, conservative comedy isn't the most competitive industry, given how most mainstream comics, entertainers, and even musicians are typically left-leaning, meaning Stephen never had to try as hard to get noticed, given the path that he chose for himself was always so narrow. Before long, he was being recruited to do stand-up at various Republican conferences, making his long-awaited rap debut at CPAC 2012 with the single Mr. America. I think I'll just let you be the judge of this one.
America, don't you run away. Don't run, keep Britain up. Those bodies have gone, we like the name was alcohol. Yeah, but right now.
Oh my God, she's shaking her booty, dude. Yo, this is all a quest to get Barbussy. The best Barbara pussy you've ever seen, dude. She was throwing it back like Hank is not watching. God,
that's probably his mom.
Damn, dude.
That's his mom.
I mean, are you trying to say that his mom is really hot? Then I guess we're in agreement.
Yeah, but right now you're hot. Hey, ain't you big hitter? But now I'm back from the dead. I'm bringing back all my knickers. What, knickers? No, it's okay. I can say knickers because I wear knickers.
Great job, Stephen. Your tireless effort to engage the youth in America is encouraging. I want to hear this on the radio, better than anything else on the radio right now. I guess it's time to give rap music a second look. I can't do this shit, man. In 2009, Steven Crowder landed a job as the youngest media correspondent at Fox News. At that point, he had climbed the ladder from YouTube to obscure propaganda sites, and finally to the biggest cable news network in the country, cutting his teeth on extremely pretentious op-eds that have aged absolutely tragically in light of recent revelations. In one bizarre...
I'm a guy and I'll never badmouth my wife.
That's great.
He was a wife guy, dude. Which is so funny because, you know, we know how he is.
Gnarly judgmental article titled "Waiting Till the Wedding Night, Getting Married the Right Way." Stephen writes, as anyone who's read my abstinence column here at Fox News Opinion could guess, sorry, just what an incredible sequence of words that is. My wife and I not only waited sexually in every way, we courted each other in a way that was consistent with our publicly professed values. We did it the right way. Now, of course, Stephen is referring to a personal choice that he and his wife made together. Saving sex for marriage is a completely fine and acceptable thing to do, just as it's also fine and acceptable to have sex before marriage. My hot take is that there isn't a right or wrong way to do it, just as long as you and your partner are on the same page. Everyone is different and that's fine. But Stephen disagrees, going on to write that he doesn't care if you feel judged, since he and his wife were apparently mocked all the time. People laughed, scoffed, and poked fun at the young...
Yeah, he clearly, he strikes me as a guy who definitely doesn't care. That's why he wrote a Fox News article about how little he cares about this.
Celibate, naive Christian couple. We'd certainly never make it to the wedding without stupping. Looking back, I think the women saying those things felt like the floozies they ultimately were, and the men, with their fickle manhood tied to their pathetic sexual conquest, felt threatened. Side note, but Stephen might possibly be the worst writer I've ever seen.
It's like guys who have sex are threatened by virgins.
Sorry, babe. I'll be there in a sec. Finishing up my Fox News abstinence column before we can get to stupping. I don't want to focus too much on this one article, though, since we still have so much else to cover. But for Stephen to assume the role of an authoritative figure on the concept of marriage, morally grandstanding on anyone who may have had a different experience than him, only for it to be revealed that he's been abusing his wife behind the scenes for years, tells you everything you need to know about Stephen Crowder.
I kind of just
This article is
his wife.
not just because it's littered with...
That's the thing that got me. Like his public stuff that he says about women and feminism, I was like, I assume this guy's an abuser. And like literally a week before the news dropped, I looked up his wedding photos and they look so happy. I was like, oh, you know, maybe he's nice to one woman.
Maybe I'm wrong.
And then a week later, I was like, no, I'm an idiot. Everyone looks happy at their wedding.
Yeah. No, it just made so much sense and I wasn't surprised. I was like, oh, it took this long for it to
come out.
For it to be revealed.
But I think they're all doing it. The only reason it came out now is because he was like in a little war with other right wingers.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. He wanted like more money. I don't know, so stupid.
Incomprehensible slang from what I can only assume is the 1920s, but because it perfectly encapsulates everything Stephen represents, a reality in which he conceals his ugly intentions behind a wall of judgment, hate, and hypocrisy in an attempt to spread an ideology. And he's been doing it
People were commenting
forever.
on the fact that we paused the video to talk.
Yeah, we paused it a lot more than Hasan does. I love this. When the union guys...
In December 2012, the conservative advocacy group Americans for Prosperity, funded by two billionaire brothers, by the way, crashed a protest in Michigan regarding the state's recently passed anti-union right-to-work law. With the help of Stephen Crowder, the group of right-wingers erected a giant tent in an effort to aggravate union members who were there protesting, causing a dispute that resulted in Stephen getting punched in the face by a union worker. While the full unedited footage showed the man being first
and then
pushed
after this,
to the
he
ground
only
before
interviewed
getting back up and
teenagers on
decking
campus.
Stephen in the jaw. This crucial bit had been mysteriously left out of the version Stephen posted to his channel for some reason, making it seem like the man had attacked him unprovoked. This was not only the narrative Stephen tried to spin on Fox, but the edited clip.
By the way, this was like most of conservative commentary back in the day before they like
learned.
I mean, they would do like a lot of the anti-gay stuff still, obviously, but like they were openly anti-union. Not as much anymore. If you notice, they're like, oh yeah, we love the working class now. It's like, no, you don't. You've always been fucking anti-union. Now they've decided to find like different methods of being anti-union, though.
This is so funny. Alex mentioned it before. It's like he gets punched in the face and he decides, like, you know what? I'm going to go to uni campuses. I'm going to do my activism with smaller people.
Yeah, no, I'm going to do it with people who are not going to punch me in the fucking mouth.
So
ended up being the one sent in to the Ingham County Prosecutor's Office in an attempt to press charges against the union worker.
Dunning's questioned why Crowder didn't initially provide the original footage to Dunning's office. I'm not holding that against them, but why would they provide the edited video? The longer video clearly shows the guy got pushed down and came up swinging. I think that's the polite way of the prosecutor saying they tried to provide us with false evidence.
Though after reviewing the unedited version, prosecutors ultimately ruled the man in fact acted in self-defense and dropped the case. So at the end of the day, this was all just Stephen Crowder whining on national TV about an event that he and his own group instigated.
So on that guy's back, I saw that guy's back go down, and then he came up off his feet. Yeah, there he is. What is that, Steve?
He did go down. We were there trying to prevent people from being hurt in the tent.
You deserve what you got.
You are a liar, sir. You are being swallowed. Your unions are being swallowed. These are babies flailing before being put to bed. They are violent. This was not an isolated event. Look around you, man.
Stephen was finally dropped by Fox News only a few months later for reasons that are still up in the air to this day. Some say it had to do with contract negotiations, while others insist it was because of comments he made about their biggest on-screen talent at the time, Sean Hannity. But most hilarious to me is is when one senior employee at Fox told the Daily Beast that Steven was never that funny anyway, and crossed the line more than a few times. Do you have any idea how obnoxious you need to be for even Fox News to turn against you? To add insult to
One of the funniest people, one of the funniest like moments is Greg Gutfeld, who is like also deeply unfunny. He hates Steven Crowder.
Steven might be one of the most unfunny people.
Annoying, just annoying.
Like,
oh, I liked it when he went around in that morph suit. It made him look confident, at least. You know, he'd like crash places wearing like a morph suit.
Hi, Kaya. Hello.
Hello, Kyle.
Kaya.
You're stuck.
The injury, leaked Twitter messages from Fox's very own Greg Gutfeld seem to allude to how frankly unlikable Steven was on a private, personal level. Keep in mind, these messages are all alleged, as I can't personally verify them myself, but it is worth noting that Gutfeld has yet to deny or disprove their legitimacy. Plus, they kinda already fall in line with Steven's public persona, so just let me be messy here for a second. They're funny, okay? He has issues. I met him at a bar once, and he sat Indian style on the floor in the middle of a crowded bar. He was asking me what he thought of the looks of his fiance. How fucked up is that? She is beautiful, but he couldn't judge. It was like he was shopping for a car and was asking his friend to take it for a test drive. I nodded and wondered how I got into this mess, adding me thinks he has an issue with his sexuality, which is fine, but it's so obvious to everyone but him. He was only at Fox News for like 6 months. We all hated him. He acts like he was a badass who left Fox. No, none of us could stand him. He wants to be a star.
Oh my God,
he hates everyone who took that risk, and he didn't. He calls himself a comedian, but doesn't perform. That's how the Schumer thing started. I would not let him call himself a comedian on my show, and Amy knew that. I hated him for saying he performs. What Gutfeld is alluding to here is an old episode from his show, where Steven and Amy Schumer were both guests. And as you can probably imagine, having these two in a room together didn't go well.
And, you know, you slip by the dirty comedian thing, but honestly, you call yourself a comedian, but you don't do it that much. Like, I go fishing a couple times a year, but I don't introduce myself on TV as a fisherman.
From that moment, Steven would make it a priority to slam Amy Schumer from the comfort of his own studio any chance he got, in a crusade that you cannot tell me wasn't a tiny bit personal.
By the way, Amy Schumer, you're a fat, slutty role model. Taking pride in being a fat bag of potatoes. She's the guy she accuses all the guys of being, only she's way gross.
I hate fat on fat violence.
Grosser and fatter.
So gross.
I'm fat. Snacks.
Triggering the libs, though, would become the focal point of his new show on YouTube, The Louder with Crowder, launched soon after his falling out with Fox. And this is where you really get some of the most potent feminist-owned videos that plagued all of YouTube in 2016.
Hey, feminists.
With his first viral video being #SJW Feminist Festival crashed by Crowder in underwear.
Prove once and for all that not all feminists are fat, unattractive, boy-cutted, androgynous amoebas. Oh my God.
She's a lesbian! A lesbian!
Epic editing there, Steven. Why he needed to go the extra mile and strip down to his underwear is beyond my reasoning, at least. I think him being removed has less to do with them being offended or whatever, and more to do with Steven intentionally irritating and causing a scene on purpose just to get a reaction for the internet.
Excuse me, ma'am. Talking about body shaming? Let's talk about male body shaming. Should I be ashamed?
It's not even about politics at a certain point. It's just about Steven being a public fucking nuisance that nobody wants to be around. But after racking up a juicy 30 million views, Steven and his producer, Not Gay Jared, which is a totally normal thing to call your friend, by the way, would make a habit of crashing these left-leaning events for the sole aim of exposing the liberal agenda, according to them. But if you ask me, it was mostly an excuse for Steven to dress up as a woman, as he liked to do over and over and over and over and over. I'm not gonna keep going, but it is funny that for a guy who thinks trans people are grooming your kids, Steven sure can't get enough of wearing his wife's clothes and touching his producer in front of children. Like the time he and Not Gay Jared convinced a bunch of people at a feminist rally that they were trans women and were met with kindness and support by the people there.
We quickly found out that nobody questions, criticizes, nor runs security background checks on trans.
Security background checks.
Why would they? What? Random protesters at a fucking grassroots event. are not going to run security clearance background checks on other random protesters because people do not immediately assume that every other human being is a horrific monster. Like, what? Yeah, I always run background checks. When someone says they're trans, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, give me the documents. Where's your birth certificate? Come on.
This grabs back.
Nice going, Steven. You really own those feminists by lying to
How is
them
that
and
an
taking
own?
advantage
Yeah,
of their hospitality for cheap clicks. You definitely look like the reasonable person in this picture.
Okay, to be fair, that was probably the happiest day of his life.
What?
Finally being accepted.
Yeah, running around and claiming he was a trans woman, and then everyone being like, "Oh, you go, sis! Like you're killing it."
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. These videos on Louder with Crowder really didn't contain much substance outside of Steven working backwards from an already established conclusion to prove some kind of flawed hypothesis. Sometimes not even he understands what it is he's truly arguing for. Take for example his position on trans athletes. Steven personally wants to see trans people competing in sports with the gender they were assigned to at birth. It's something he's long propagated across his platforms. But here he is complaining about just that.
This is Mark Beggs, a senior from Euless Trinity High School near Dallas, is in the process of transitioning from female to male and taking low dose of testosterone. Just entered a high school wrestling tournament with an undefeated record and, surprise, won. That picture says 1,000 words right there.
Hey, Steven, that is a trans man competing with cis women. He's being forced to compete with women because that's what people like you are arguing for. This is what you want. And this trans wrestler in particular, Mac Beggs, has openly expressed wanting to compete with cis men because it just makes more sense.
I think he also did, and he ripped cis men too.
But he can't do that because Republican-backed Texas law currently requires trans athletes to play in an athletic league which matches their biological sex determined at birth. Something that Steven encourages and supports.
My position is biological males compete with biological males, biological females compete with biological females.
Like, Steven, if you're watching, first of all, hi, what the f did you mean by this tweet? And secondly, just suspend your political bias for a minute and imagine if there were hundreds of bills circulating around the country invalidating your right to live a normal life. Imagine if your basic access to healthcare, education, legal recognition, etc. was all up in the air for a small group of politicians to dictate. Something about that seems a wildly big government to me, a gross overstep of legislative power that a small government conservative like yourself should frown upon. But to Steven Crowder and the dozens of other vocal opponents of trans rights, freedom of expression is trumped by blind hatred for those that are just different from them. Despite freedom being one of the deciding factors that makes America the best country in the world, according to Steven.
But not only do I believe that our healthcare system is superior to those countries, but there would be another reason outside of healthcare. Let's assume that healthcare were better in those countries.
He's like, we have the most MRI machines out of any country in the world.
Yeah, that's why we're the best.
You don't even understand. This man is also not very smart, as you know.
Yep.
So he can't even come up with his own talking points. So he's done videos where he basically, piece by piece, verbatim, copies the American Enterprise Institute and their talking points. And some of them are so incredibly unhinged. Also, he's Canadian, but that's besides the point. Listen. One of my favorite Steven Crowder American Enterprise talking points about healthcare is that Americans pay more for pharmaceuticals because we're subsidizing the rest of the world.
Ah, it's like a charity.
But
yeah,
he's saying we're subsidizing the rest of the world because is he implying that they
like
make
the rest
all
of the
pharmaceuticals here?
No, he's implying that we pay a high price point so that the rest of the world can pay a low price point.
Yep.
But that's also that's a good thing though. Like that's not a system that should be changed.
Yeah, is he saying that's good or bad?
No, he's saying that that's good that we're paying so much.
Oh, yeah.
Because
he loves all the other countries in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
freedom.
But it's just he doesn't believe everyone deserves the same access to the fundamental freedoms he's been given. At least that's what it seems. Stephen doesn't seem to value those he personally deems inferior, and would rather resort to ostracizing them in a public setting the same way he was ostracized and bullied as a child.
Oh, but don't you feel a little bad for the bully? He's just a kid. I feel zero bad for him. And you know what happens when bullies aren't stepped down early in their childhood? Gaddafi.
You'd hope someone like Stephen, who has talked about being on the receiving end of relentless bullying throughout his life, would be one to stand up for those who have been unfairly attacked for committing the cardinal sin of trying to live
No,
a
you
normal.
don't understand. He's pro Gaddafi. He's saying the people who fucked him with a bayonet were bullied. Were
bullied.
Yeah, they weren't bullied enough, and that's why they became anti-Gaddafi assets.
Normal life like the rest of us. But instead, Stephen takes the low road and chooses to relish in the power he now gets to wield as the bully himself.
I think it's better that the bully learn his lesson now as opposed to later on in life when somebody snaps as an adult. It gets uglier.
Stephen Crowder, a man who ironically brags about his strong Christian values, likes to spend his time berating people who strangely aren't white by threatening to call ICE on Mexican workers.
I need papers. Do you have papers? He's gonna call ICE, you motherfuckers.
Stephen enjoys showing off his impression of Martin Luther King Jr.
That's one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen.
That's so funny. I love
Wait,
that.
what, he like kidnaps people? And then he's like,
No,
I'm
he
going to deport
probably
you.
asked people if they wanted a lift or something, and then was like, "Show me your papers."
I got you.
No. He probably goes to like no, there are places where like undocumented workers will stand in a line who hopes that someone will come, like a contractor will come and pick them up. Like a Home Depot, probably.
That's fuck. Those people would have thought they're going to get murdered. You'd think this man's going to shoot us.
Copied that from The Amazing Racist. He's not even original. That was a 2007 thing. Yeah, even his racism is like fucking plagiarized.
Things you don't know about MLK. Bet you didn't expect to hear MLK and crack whores. I have a dream of non-crack whores at a Motel 6.
And when he's not making a mockery of black farmers,
I don't know where you find this many farmers of color. I'm gonna buy a plow, man.
I'm gonna plant that corn.
Go get a John Deere. Barack Obama, mother. I'm the president of plowing that ass.
I planted a Hennessy tree, but it's not growing.
Turns out the soil content is a high level of meth.
Crazy.
Wow, I didn't know.
he's disingenuously recreating George Floyd's murder in an attempt to exonerate the psychopath convicted of killing him.
Was it unpleasant? Yes. Is there any way that would kill someone who was in moderate health? I can't see it.
Stephen's been known to make a mockery of Asian people on the sole premise of them being Asian.
Oh, that is an aggressively Asian face.
When he's not wearing a dress or cosplaying as a rootin' tootin' sheriff with his fake little
Aggressively
gun
Asian
holsters in
face.
his studio, he's poking fun at whatever he thinks Islam is.
Islam, the religion of peace. Allah Akbar!
Excusing the torture America inflicted against prisoners at Guantanamo Bay,
I personally believe that prison should be as unpleasant as humanly possible. Let's take a look at some of these torture techniques used at Club Gitmo.
Oh,
We've got
that's what I'm
slight
talking
sleep deprivation,
This is what I
repeatedly
wanted
playing
to do with
children's
you.
songs. People out there, do you honestly believe that America is losing its moral high ground and consider this torture?
killing two birds with one stone in his embarrassing portrayal of
Yeah.
not just Muslims but also trans people in his
Are you guys
critically
leaving?
acclaimed
Can you
video
put it in there? We'll put it in the
Transler
crate.
Bane versus Jihadi Bond, which are two different franchises. I mean, that one doesn't even make sense.
Bye-bye.
Stephen loves to make the exact same joke about trans people every single year on Trans Day of Visibility. Confusingly blamed trans rights activists for there being a higher rate of trans suicides.
Is anyone surprised when it's a 42% attempted suicide rate? You don't have that anywhere else in the demographic. That would suggest some kind of mental proclivity toward extreme behavior, and I don't think it's helping people to simply enable it. I don't want nearly half of all transgenders to attempt suicide. I want that to be lower. Guess what doesn't work?
It's wild that like it is basically hell yeah. You're so strong.
You can hold up a whole puppy.
Well, I mean she's a big one.
She's also hard to hold because she's just
So
she's
floppy.
so floppy.
I just don't want to drop it. I want to bring her in here.
Hello, Kaya.
Who's in the bed? Who's in the bed?
Stay. She has so much freedom this whole time.
She's caged up.
It's a great video.
Yeah,
It's like
really
a
good.
lot of work.
No, Jawbree's the shit.
The
He's
editing's
man.
great. The music's nice.
He's great.
Just the research is nuts. You have to watch so much.
It's probably just because
I guess it's just Hassan's life.
he's a Steven Crowder fan. That's why.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
like I
saying
am.
you're all good. You're a woman. It doesn't help. It makes it worse.
Had this to say about victims.
Wouldn't it stand to reason that the victims of rape would usually, not always, generally be those who are most desirable sexually, considering the crime?
Maybe like the 5s to 10s.
I mean, like you don't carjack a 98 Oldsmobile.
No.
I've searched, and I could be wrong about this. There are many, right? How many times have I been to a change my mind? It's always a blue-haired, would-be lesbian feminist who claim they're raped. As far as I know, not one Victoria's Secret model has been raped.
And at the beginning of his...
Literally all of them?
Yeah.
What?
He said, as far as I know, and he doesn't know much.
I'm just an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, in his defense, that's how that works. Have you looked up the times for the movie?
Oh, no.
Because I'm trying to fucking... I'm down to watch this guy.
Yeah, that's sick. I'm very
Dude,
excited.
I want to learn about the dark side of child trafficking.
And
it seems like you're not into it.
I'm actually really excited.
All right,
because,
don't show the camera.
Everywhere in America, the aircon's too strong. This is like the one movie I can actually watch.
No, I hope that the fucking air. Oh, I hope the air conditioning is not fucked up. Because then it'd be a sad state of affairs. Like we would know that they're definitely trying to sabotage the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
His career did a really fun and tasteful bit he liked to call Cultural Appropriation Week, where for about 5 days straight, he and Not Gay Jared began their show dressed in whatever caricature of a costume they had lying around that day.
This week, the mystical age.
Wait, did you guys bring the crate upstairs? Oh, thank you.
Oh, see you later.
like the
Yeah,
five
nice
thing,
meeting
that
you.
combination. Like it's kind of like the other woman.
See you later.
Put him back on. Ooh. Oh, okay.
But there's no joke here either. It's just I'm gonna dress up.
I think the joke is that he wants to have sex with Not Gay Jared, who's not gay.
He's trying very hard.
And Stevens fans may be quick to write these things off as nothing more than edgy jokes, and that his critics are just being snowflakes for getting mad at such top-tier comedy. But it's hard to make the argument that these are just mere jokes when they still accurately reflect the real belief Steven appears to hold. For example, Steven has stated that he's a traditionalist who doesn't believe in the concept of gay marriage.
Myself personally, I am pro.
Get down.
Get down, Kyle.
Oh my God, she's definitely
too big.
She also is too used to not being in the crate.
Kyle,
Seems.
Kyle, down.
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 Get down.
Get down.
No.
She's too big.
Don't even think about it. It's so funny when she jumps up. I can't. No laughing. No, we can't laugh. We can't laugh at her being bad. Fuck. It is pretty funny though when she like is so large she can like touch you.
Well, she's scratching my
it's
back,
fucking
just
painful.
going.
Yeah, it's
very hard to ignore her.
I know. Okay, she's yawning. Maybe she'll go to sleep.
Traditional marriage. I agree with the president on this.
You can't then turn around and make such unfunny jokes at the expense of gay people and expect viewers to suck it up and buy your socialism is for figs shirt.
Gayness is still funny. It's absurd, so it's funny. It would be the same thing
But also,
if
it's
a
like-
duck walked in right now wearing pajamas. We'd be like, oh my God, there's a duck in pajamas. What are you doing at CPAC, duck in pajamas?
We should kill it. But
Yeah,
that's what's funny.
But also, has he never watched gay comedy before? Like, gay people think gayness is funny. Like,
They
there's
make jokes.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Yeah, had enough.
Nice shirt, dude. Yeah, I can tell.
What do you think I saw from
Have a safe trip.
Thank you.
Well, journey. Thanks for everything, Marat.
You're welcome, dude. Hope you are doing well as well.
I'm not doing great. I'm not doing great.
Even though I'll probably see you like in 2 days.
I'm not doing great, but it's okay. Why do all these? What? Oh, you did? Is it close?
Are you the cutest little baby in the history of the world?
No, he said it's not close.
No, that's
Oh, well.
But you're a close second.
Do you laugh every time you see Austin? Yeah, always. I'm like, haha, he's gay. And that's funny.
What is he doing here?
Yeah, just like if a duck in pajamas walked in.
It's the same thing.
To my studio.
The last time I saw him, he was wearing pajamas.
Oh.
In your bed.
Oh.
Nice.
It's on the hook. 100%.
Pajamas? I would have never imagined that. It's the same thing when there's a dude like, hello, you look delicious.
There's just no way to
No
genuinely
one has
write
ever
this
said
stuff
that to
off as innocent
No one
jokes
said that.
when it's rooted in something that you genuinely.
Have they not? I don't know. You know, maybe he's cruising. You don't know. If anything, people might have definitely said that to him. It's too believable, I think.
Believe. By 2019, Stephen had really taken off in popularity, thanks to a little series he likes to call Change My Mind, which is ironically something Stephen never actually does. Even if you've never watched an episode of this thing, you've probably seen the memes. The premise is that Stephen travels around to various locations, mostly college campuses, and sets up a booth to debate random people on whatever issue he's feeling that day. Maybe it's fascism, gender, immigration, Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, non-incendiary topics like
That's
those.
awesome.
For the most part, he uses pretty eye-catching and intentionally offensive
Kwanzaa is
language to
one.
trigger a more passionate response from the people there. Why? Well, it's exciting to watch people scream at each other, I guess. Plus, it's always helpful to make the opposing side look as unreasonable and shrill as possible. Stephen is banking on the fact that most of these kids are liberal, so having a substantive conversation with someone who disagrees with him shouldn't be a hard thing to do. But the problem with these debates is that the scales are already tipped so much in Stephen's favor that it's really not much of an
We just
evenly
watch him cut
matched
people off when
exchange of
they're
ideas.
beating him.
You start taking hormone therapy, it changes the way your muscles grow, and you're not actually given that much of an advantage, or they don't have as much of an advantage as you think they might.
Are you sure about that?
Well, I guess I'm not sure, but I also not sure about anything because I'm a fucking moron. You know how it is.
This is his show after all, so of course Stephen picks the topic, the setting, the circumstances, who gets the microphone and when. What makes the final...
He got fucking obliterated by some like Nazball freak one time in the Socialism is
I
Evil.
saw that.
I think I watched that one.
And then he just got rid of him immediately.
No,
he was
pulled
like,
him
oh,
up
you're
on
being
some-
mean,
Yeah,
or you're
yeah.
like,
Yeah, unfortunately, he was a Nazi loser, but
final edit and what doesn't. Plus, he's already given himself ample time beforehand to prepare his talking points as much as he needs. Whereas
he
the
sells
kids
that
he's
as merch.
debating left their dorms that morning not expecting to debate their beliefs on things like abortion. They haven't
Don't even
made
jump.
a career off politics like Stephen has, making them easy targets for him to rain down upon with facts and logic, even when those facts aren't actually facts. For example, take his video, America is Not Racist, Change My Mind. Stephen at one point claims that the US has a higher class mobility compared to the rest of the world.
First off, we have more class mobility here in the United States than anywhere.
Ignore that.
Certainly than Canada.
Define class mobility for me.
Meaning there are more people in the United States who end up in the top 30% of income than anywhere else in the world. At some point in their life, we're in the top 10%, including people go from the top 10, from the bottom 10 or the bottom 30, the top 30, the top. There's more class mobility here in the United States, more ability to rise out of poverty into upper middle class than anywhere else in the world. It's not even close.
Only I don't know what Stephen is.
I don't even know why he lied about this because it's like such an easily debunkable talking.
well, they can't
point.
debunk you there in person. That's important.
Yeah, you have to know the talking points to be able to like address them adequately, and that is the whole point.
Also, he's at a university. The professors are right there. Like, there are people there that could answer this.
Yeah. Also, you see he
Is
has
going
a
bu-
booklet as
Yeah.
well of
That's what he sold it as merch. One of the chamber of mine is like, you can buy this and own all your like nephews at Christmas dinner.
Yeah. If you want to be the most unfuckable, the biggest loser. Kaya, off. Get down.
Down.
Get down.
Down.
I can't even use my left arm because it hurts. Oh my god, our paws are so big.
Kaya, down.
No. Oh god, this is gonna be
friends. Do you want to give it
gonna
a
be
puzzle?
so hard. This is gonna be so fucking hard to retrain her. The puzzle you need to put like treats in every.
Right.
in every pocket you can. Oh God. Okay.
Sure, he links to an image of a random study on screen, but even this doesn't show the US compared to the rest of the world. According to the World Economic Forum, America ranks 27th beneath all these other countries. Not what I would call high, personally. In another one on abortion, Stephen finds himself perpetuating the notion that the majority of late-term abortions are not a result of medical complications, but rather because the woman just feels like doing it.
You know, women who do have late-term abortions, they're not out here walking around at 8 months pregnant saying, you know what? I don't feel like having this baby anymore. Let's just get rid of it.
Sure they are.
No, they're not.
That's almost all late-term abortions.
Yeah, almost all late-term abortions are women who are just like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, YOLO.
I fucking hate these
I
guys.
love carrying it for 8 months only to fucking abort it.
No, the way in which he says it, it's such.
It's like, yeah, they are.
Like,
Don't forget to move the take can into the garage and Camry to the other side.
Okay, yeah. Sure. Oh. I like that he didn't do that. He's like, I took your car out of the garage because I was using the garage.
There's a majority that are medically induced and necessary.
No, not a majority.
Well, whatever ones
As a matter
that
of
are
fact,
not,
nearly
then those
never.
are not.
But I'm not sure where Stephen got this either. Considering just how exceedingly rare abortions in the third trimester even are, making up for only 1% of all abortions across the US. This means that data on why women would need to get an abortion later into the pregnancy is extremely limited.
So the term
usually
late-term
medical date.
abortion
It's
is
something
not a medical
wrong.
term, and it
Yes, that's why it happens. Also, yeah,
Not just,
late-term
I hate
abortion.
this
Late-term abortion is like a made-up concept anyway.
Yeah.
Like they call it late-term abortion because, you know, as she's describing right now, it sounds scarier.
Yeah.
it often really complicates this discussion because people kind of take it to mean something like a third trimester abortion or abortion just before or during birth, which are not.
I mean, it's kind of funny because like Republicans lie and say that like Democrats kill babies in a guillotine style contraption as it's like escaping the pussy. You know what I mean?
Just a
Like
little thing that we put on the end.
they took it to the maximum level already where they're like, Democrats want you to kill your child. This is coming out the womb. You know what I mean?
Put a paper shredder on the end of the bed when the baby comes.
Yeah. It's so
really
stupid.
things that happen. And I think that it kind of really distracts from the conversation when people use that terminology. For reference, only about 1.5% of U.S. abortions happen after 20 weeks. And this is usually what people are referencing when they say, quote, late term. The percent of
You take a little bit of a cheese and you put it in a mousetrap, and the babies love cheese. so they start crawling out of the womb. Okay, they start crawling out of the womb, and then as soon as they touch the cheese, head first, boom, neck broken, and you know it's squishy to begin with.
And sometimes women just feel like doing that.
Yeah,
they just feel like
it. Yeah, you've never experienced thrills until you've carried a child for 9 months, like had it grow inside of you. Okay, fully form into a baby, only to fucking take it out of your body and immediately execute it.
Sometimes you feel like it.
Yeah.
of those that are due to life threat or lethal fetal anomalies is really hard to track because they aren't always reported. And when they are reported, they aren't always reported with a reason. But a vast majority of them will be because of a lethal fetal anomaly or a serious complication and risk to the person who's pregnant. I would venture to say that all abortions that happen between 20 and 24 weeks fall into 3 categories. Most will fall into those 2 groups of a life risk or lethal fetal anomaly. And the remainder are people who wanted to have an abortion earlier, but didn't have access. So the irony here is that people who talk about this, Crowder absolutely included, are almost always against easier access in the first trimester, which directly increases how many people seek termination later on in pregnancy. I have had more patients than I can count who have experienced not only the trauma of having to end a pregnancy that they wanted, but then having to go on and be repeatedly traumatized mentally by family and friends, having these conversations in such black and white, non-compassionate manners. We cannot forget the fact that this number is probably going to go up because we have taken away access that was previously difficult and now is impossible for probably 50% of people in the US. So the only outcome of that is going to be that more abortions happen later in pregnancy because people have to spend time and money figuring.
No, I did a thing video idea, baby guillotine.
It's actually something I really wanted to make. There was a thing that...
What? A baby guillotine?
Well, it's not quite a baby guillotine, but there was an idea that was patented, which was a centrifugal baby thing to help women give birth by spinning them around.
Spinning the baby out.
No, spinning the whole the woman so fast.
Like a laundry machine?
Yeah, but the baby flies out of them.
That's awesome.
How cool is that?
We got one of those at the theme park in Sydney.
Yeah, the rotor. So that's what
What?
I wanted to make, but that's not
A machine using centrifuge to push a baby out?
Yeah, how cool is that?
It separates
A
liquid.
doctor did that once in England, literally popped the head off during birth. Dude, you wanted to do that?
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to do it on a real baby. Just my sister's baby, you know.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's not a real baby, it's fake. Well, it's yours technically.
Yeah.
Like you own
your-
a piece of it. You know what I mean? But it's family.
It is family.
I thought you
can
meant he
do
had
that.
sex with his sister.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
was
you were
like,
making
what
an
is
allegation.
No, I meant like if
That
it's
was
your
that was a private conversation. So.
no, I meant like if it's a family member, you can do the guillotine thing.
I'm not doing a guillotine.
Come on,
thing.
okay, the rat trap.
The rat trap. I'll do the rat trap.
The rat trap.
Figuring out how to get access when they can't get access where they live or in the state that they're in.
The issues that Stephen tries to condense into just a few short words are far, far more nuanced than he'd have you believe. And he does this kind of thing constantly. Like here, when he insists America's healthcare system is the best in the world, simply because hospitals in Canada and Europe have a higher mortality rate, which apparently means they have worse care.
Don't just look at the one portion of the equation. How much are you?
Yeah,
Because Americans
in
die on the
America,
street.
you can't go to the hospital. It's too expensive to die there. What do you mean?
You die in an Uber on the way to the hospital. 'cause
No,
you can't
like
get an
literally,
ambulance.
no. But that is part of it because we don't have like great fucking elderly care in hospitals, so you can't go to the hospital anyway. You just fucking. You're gonna die anyway, so you might as well fucking die at home. Plus, not that many people die in hospitals regardless. It's not like it's not where you die. The overwhelming majority of people die at like elderly homes or fucking their house.
Yeah, we should look up mortality rate in North Korean hospitals. It's probably better.
Yeah.
You spending? What are you getting for that? What is the rest of the world getting from privately funded healthcare?
The reason why less Americans are dying in a hospital, if true, wouldn't have to do with hospitals in America being better quality. It actually just means more Americans are dying at home because they can't afford to die in a hospital, which you might recognize as literally the opposite of his point.
Oh, they found the childbirth by centrifugal force.
How did you find this, Alex? What were you looking for?
I think I was talking
fucked up things to do to a baby.
I think I was talking with William Osman about like horrible patented ideas. that
Oh,
we should
that's
try to
right.
make.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Wait,
is how
that's
the
pregnant woman.
Is that the woman or is that the baby?
No, that's the woman.
If the baby was already out, you wouldn't have to do this procedure.
But also, how do you know where the baby's going to fly out? It could fly.
Well, it is a net.
Ah,
dude, they accounted for that. They're brilliant
I
scientists.
thought you have like 20 doctors.
Why
in
did
the
you?
room with pitching rooms. Like, where's it
Why would
coming
you?
out?
Why would you think that the brilliant scientists did not account for the baby flying out?
Yeah. No, they got everything there.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Did she slay? Oh god, what is this? Is it Trisha Paytas link? What? Why? Why? Emhud, why are you showing me this?
What is it?
Is Trisha Paytas portraying herself as The Weeknd? Right,
But Stephen will stop at nothing to make sure he comes
Oh,
out
God.
looking
Or
smarter
nor.
than the other person in the heat of debate, even if he needs to pivot
Oh, this
to
might have
another
been a kid.
talking point. If you watch enough of these, you'll sometimes hear Stephen say things to the effect of, hold that thought, or let's put a pin in that, when his opponent says something that actually makes sense. Only Stephen never comes back around to those points.
What's your position on the minimum wage?
Well, hold on a second. Is this your changing my mind? I want to make sure.
Yes, I want to get started.
Okay, my position on the minimum wage. Yeah, you know what? I'm not a fan.
Are you against illegal immigration and legal immigration from poor third world countries?
Of course I'm against illegal immigration.
Well, I'm trying to convince you that your own objectives, if you're a conservative, cannot be achieved under capitalism.
Okay.
And so I'll
Sure.
give you an example of that.
Yeah.
You have a lot of Republicans like Paul Ryan. You cannot deny that he is a big capitalist, and he has lots of capitalist donors that would like nothing more than to increase their profits. I think you can agree with that. And people like that have been opposing immigration reform for
This
decades.
is the Nazi kid, by the way.
Because they believe that mass immigration
I
will
watched
lower
this.
the wages of the working class and
Yes.
increase their profits.
Okay, so I would agree with you on that.
So if you impose a minimum wage, you're not going to have this mass immigration coming in, because the companies that are taking these illegal immigrants and taking these low-wage immigrants, if they had to pay them $15 an hour, we wouldn't have mass immigration like we're having right now.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that I agree with that premise. So let me kind of go, because first off, before I would like to take that, hold it. What example will we point to before we go on? Because I know a lot of times we disagree, of a successful socialist country.
They just get forgotten as the conversation trails elsewhere. Stephen also loves to move the goalposts when he senses his opponent making an argument he isn't able to disprove.
The idea that there have been different genders outside of man-woman for centuries.
Okay, how so?
Yeah, India.
India,
Yeah. In
sure.
India, you know, they have third gender. Native American cultures, they have third genders.
Sure.
In ancient Egypt, they had third genders.
Okay, so you do realize, and you talked about how very different it was from Western culture, so antithetical to Western culture. You named India, ancient Egypt. You know what else? We also believe in that's antithetical to those cultures. We're against slavery.
He tried to claim the idea of two genders was a new one. When the individual in classes corrected him with historical examples that proved him wrong, he immediately pivots.
Stephen is relying on the people he's debating
So did
to
America.
not be prepared,
Yeah,
so
hold
it's easier to twist the conversation wherever and however he wants. And if things get too hot, he can always just pass.
Get fucking owned, libtards. He's changing my mind, actually. Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah, third gender is akin to slavery.
Well, now I'm pro-trans and pro-slavery because I realized that there was a saying.
There's a correlation between the two.
Yeah, fuck.
Pass the mic to someone more naive.
Define, because it's a very specific definition. You came in and just said shill. And I'm really quickly get ready to give the microphone
Look
to
how much
someone
closer
else.
he's getting to him.
Because this isn't the goal of
Yeah,
it. What's
yeah.
the
He
deal?
senses he's losing, so he's like, I'm going to crush you, child.
That's fair, that's fair. Yusuf, I appreciate Yusuf taking the time. Everyone give a hand to Yusuf. Appreciate it very much. We'll grab someone else here. Thank you, Yusuf.
Or, you know, just you.
Wild that Yusuf is a Nazball.
Using a woman's own abortion against her?
Baby, let me tell you something. What you ended was a unique genetic code that had eye color, hair color, how tall it would be, how much it would weigh,
Accomplished doesn't
its
hit him.
personality, proclivity toward mental illness.
This is something you say
what
when you're
kind of
losing.
hair pattern to male pattern baldness. When you had that abortion performed, you eliminated all of that. That's a scientific fact.
The fact is that it was a choice and it was something that had to be done.
Like, even if you're pro-life, what kind of excuse is it to weaponize something so personal against someone for the sake of looking cool in an amateur
He doesn't
debate
care.
with a college student? Just a cruel example of his strategy to come out looking intellectually and morally superior, no matter the cost. On the surface, this show may present Stephen as having a willingness to change.
Okay, people in the chat said sperm holds genetic information as well. Does Steven Crowder not jerk off? And I'm not. I don't know. I
His
feel
whole
like
show is jerking off.
I feel like he's the type of dude who might not actually jerk off. He's the type of dude who whips himself with a fucking belt at the end of every night. Yeah.
Maybe this is why he's so angry and
yeah,
hates
he's
everyone.
dude, he's doing no fap.
He's doing no fap.
Doing fucking no fap, dude. He's a retentionist.
Change his mind if someone can convince him to do so. But that's not the same sentiment he expressed in this clip at the beginning of the series.
So it's important. This isn't about just a debate or a highlight reel. The
Someone said
point
he's
to
scared
this
of his own
exercise
penis.
is to actually get people to question their own point of view and see if their argument is rational. And maybe at the end of it, they'll end up changing their own mind.
See, in case it wasn't painfully obvious enough, Stephen never intends to change his mind. I know.
This is why I fucking hate debate perverts. Like, I engage in debates from time to time, but I recognize it for what it is, okay? It's just fucking pseudo-intellectual wrestling.
Yeah. It's not for anyone.
It's so stupid to be like, oh, this is actually the Socratic method that we're parsing through treacherous intellectual boundaries and and arriving at the truth. It's like, no, man, it's not. It's just you're just repeating talking points that you readily built ahead of time, and whoever's rhetoric is better, whoever has like strong skills, whoever's a better orator, seemingly wins that conversation. Conversation is not about the truth ever. It's just about ritualistically humiliating your interlocutors. I had a debate lord in chat today arguing with me for using debate lord as a slur, and I checked his logs here. You banned him over 3 years ago. That's awesome. They are also the most like debate lords are also the most like passionate. Like they can't let anything go. They'll hold on to grudges for years and years and years, dude. They think that they're a fucking anime villain.
But it's such a like self-destructive superpower though, because like everyone who's any good at debating is like the worst person to be around. Like you just can't have friends.
Yeah,
it's a deal with the devil.
After so many episodes of this show, the only thing that Steven's ever reconsidered is his opinion on Teslas. Now he likes them, I guess, because they personally benefit him and his wife.
I have changed my mind on a subject.
Really?
Teslas, let's go.
Great. The Change My Mind series, though, has never been anything more than cheap.
Yeah, it's the one car that he and his wife have. He probably likes it because he can like track it in real time. Unlike the Ford Focus that they had beforehand, who didn't have like internal navigation that he could track.
Entertainment masquerading as some open and intellectual exchange of ideas in which Steven's beliefs somehow always end up looking the best. Steven knows his audience doesn't want to see evenly matched debates. That's boring. They want someone dunking on a woke college freshman on their way to their next gender studies class or whatever. They want their preconceived view of the world validated, and Steven is more than happy to provide them a safe space. I mean, if he were really looking to have a productive and nuanced conversation, wouldn't he debate real experts as opposed to naive undergrad students? There's a reason he's continuously backed out of debates with people you'd think are on Steven's same level of political prowess. Take it, Peter.
Well, I mean, they're not, because Sam Cedar would fucking eviscerate him. In the short conversation that he had with Sam Cedar, oh my god, what a fucking nightmare. Sam Cedar owned him so much that he ended up divorcing his wife. Think about that. Like hitting a top of the hour ad break so hard that you end up dramatically changing your life, like as the TikTok Zoomers are calling a canon event. That's the new thing now. Everyone's talking about
canon events.
Canon events.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Did you learn that in France?
No, I learned it on Twitter. I'm on Twitter all the time. At the top of the hour, there's another canon event. A 3-minute ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do that for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. It's from Spider-Man, little bro. See now that doesn't work. You can't say little bro and be like, it's from Spider-Man. Okay? It's like you're supposed to say it's from Spider-Man, old man.
Yeah.
My
It's
elder.
from Peppa Pig, little guy.
Yeah. Like
baby.
you can't it's not the own you think it is, okay? Like my man, you're the little bro here. Okay? Anyway, here's the 3-minute ad break now. Jesus Christ.
Hadfield, for example, a YouTuber who frequently debunks pseudoscience and climate change denialism on his channel. After baselessly trying to refute Hadfield in 2017, Steven Crowder challenged him to a debate, to which Hadfield accepted, but was surprised to see Steven fail to show up to their previously scheduled live stream. Well, I'm sure there's a good reason for that. Maybe that was during one of Steven's many hospital visits. I mean, who's to say? He'd only do this again with Cody Johnston, a left-leaning YouTuber who challenged Steven's position on gun control in 2017.
I pointed to an actual investigation done by the state of New York with actual hidden camera footage of someone actually trying to buy and successfully buying a gun at a gun show. That's all I pointed out. And his response to this was to tweet in all caps, "Challenge accepted," and then say we would debate. Not would you debate me, but treating my little segment as a direct challenge and request to debate him. I would show this tweet of his, but he deleted all of the tweets associated with it. Here's my response, if that helps. I still am not sure what he wanted to debate.
But perhaps the most famous instance of Stephen debate dodging is with Sam Seder, another political commentator and voice of Hugo on Bob's Burgers, who Stephen has tried to avoid at all costs, starting when he inexplicably dropped out of a debate with Sam at the 2018 Politicon, then hilariously tried to lie about it, which may not have been the best move, considering there's an entire phone call out there with an event organizer confirming Stephen got, quote, cold feet and had to bail at last minute.
You've never gone to is the phone call.
I did want to talk to you about the debate.
Okay.
So it seems that Steven Crowder has maybe gotten some cold feet.
Okay.
And feeling a little intimidated, so I don't think he's coming.
He's not even going to come?
Right.
Why is that?
You know, it's a great question. I would love to ask it to him myself. He's not even answering anymore. I don't know what his team is doing around him, and that's, just for me to speculate at this point. I don't know.
He has a team? He has a whole team and he won't do it? He can bring the team.
I believe it's his father, but I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay.
Dad won't let me fly.
I'm not
So now that we're all up to speed, let's fast forward to summer 2021, where Stephen gets into an argument with Ethan Klein, challenging him to a debate. Ethan accepted, but days before it was all supposed to go down, Ethan tapped Sam Seder and asked if he would want to pop into their call the following Monday. Sam agreed, but in order to be there on time, Sam ended his...
Okay, all jokes aside, this was a canon event. Like, it literally did brick Steven Crowder.
Yeah,
like his life fell apart after this. His wife divorced him. He threw, and it's like the domino effect, right?
He probably
his
thought
wife
everyone was Sam Seder after this. He probably thought his wife was Sam Seder.
Yeah. His wife divorced him, and then he went into this weird mental space where he openly yelled about a $50 million deal where everyone online was like, what the fuck are you doing?
You don't understand. That's not a lot of money.
Like 50 million? You're saying no to 50 million? What the fuck is wrong with you? And he hasn't really been uploading that much.
No.
Has he?
And I don't see much support for him anymore. Online anywhere.
The Ring video was from 4 days after Sam and Ethan. Yeah. The Ring video where he's like, it doesn't work for me either. That was from 4 days after Sam and Ethan, yeah.
Show that day 30 minutes earlier than usual. Everything was going according to plan until minutes before the H3 podcast went live. Ethan receives an email from Steven's booker, his dad. It's his dad, let's be honest. That Steven's pregnant wife had to be rushed to the hospital and that they'd need to reschedule for the week after. Because the timing was so peculiar, Ethan immediately suspected Steven's team must be keeping an eye on Sam's show and canceled out of fear that he may ambush Steven during the H3 podcast,
awesome.
to which Sam was quick to dismiss at first,
Sam's show
only
was
for
on at the
Steven
same
to
time.
later admit to monitoring Sam's show after the fact. That's how terrified Steven was of facing this man in anything even resembling a debate.
It doesn't
You're
end
so
there.
clever.
It's
I
even
had no
better.
idea that you were taking your show off early last time, coming in today with your pig pen peanuts eyes.
I'm very genuinely unsure
him?
what it is about Sam Seder that strikes so
Dude,
much
it's
fear
like
into
the
Steven Crowder.
Bro, it's like the Jonah Hill thing where they think it's badass to openly admit that you're scared of this man. This man with children who voices a cartoon. You know what I mean? It's just like the Jonah Hill thing where it's dude, it's fucking badass to tell your girlfriend that she can't take photos and post them or be a surf instructor. You don't understand it. You don't understand what being an alpha dog is like.
It's what men do.
Yeah, it's how you become the biggest alpha dog.
But by the time the H3 debate finally rolled around, Steven's worst nightmare finally came to fruition. And I do mean nightmare.
Oh, there he is. Oh no, Sam Seder. What a
fucking nightmare. Oh,
I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought Ethan was a stand-up guy. This is where we are. Yeah, I told Dave, remember I told you? I said I guarantee you he's going to do anything he can to avoid the debate.
The day Steven was meant to go live with Ethan, Sam had pre-taped.
You want to know what's funny? Ethan now would cook Steven Crowder in a debate. Ethan was, at that time, he was not very confident in his own skills. But since then, he's like, it's like a fucking kung fu movie. He's been like fighting lower level villains in the field of like internet debate. He started off with like some fucking random cult guy, the Nixium sex cult guy.
Oh.
He like moved on.
Guy, I think.
Yeah, he did the TikTok guy. He's been like leveling up every day. He eviscerated Pearly Things, the ginger woman who's always like, women are stupid, and if you're not a virgin, you shouldn't get married. Like that kind of shit. He's just Ollie London, which was, I think, his hardest, his toughest battle. He bodied every single one of them. Yeah, just Pearly Things was a side quest, no experience gained. Yeah, no, I think he powered up too much. He already had too much XP at that point, so like, it was too low level. The Ollie London one, like, made him power level a little bit. You get the Wannabe Andrew Tate guy? Yeah, we did all that.
His show and aired it as if it were live to trick Steven's team into
part
thinking it
is
was
so
safe,
sick.
assuming they were watching. Turns out they definitely were, and were entirely blindsided when Sam joined the call. And as you can probably guess, things got messy fast.
You take those off with the velveteen buttons?
We must have been
Black
very worried
eyes,
about
aren't
this,
they? Like
Stephen. I don't know why.
No
it
one's
would be
worried
so
about it, Sam.
concerned.
People to this day say that was actually anti-Semitic, and I'm so confused by it that I just like, I don't even understand.
Which bit?
Wait, which
What did
bit?
they
When he
say?
says you have the velveteen rabbit eyes.
I'm not. You got to be really deep in that law. I don't.
Yeah,
really
I don't know. I actually don't know.
Racism. I understand that.
It's like I don't even know what that
Sam
is.
Cedar's hot is the thing.
Yeah.
He's like.
What?
Sam
Yeah,
Cedar's hot.
he is. Yeah, he's a dilf.
I understand velveteen.
He has beady eyes.
Okay.
But to be fair, like Steven Crowder, I can see him unearthing the ancient tomes of like racist literature. Yeah,
It's
to
a
like
last resort to get out.
to
of
find like the deepest of cuts. It's like a curse.
Want to
Well,
do
let's have
Sam,
the debate.
come
If
on.
no
Steven,
strong
you are
leaders-
such a coward.
Stop showing your
little
leprechaun
co-host who comes out
dressed
Hey, Ethan, come on, Ethan, why do you have to
Steven,
He can't build an audience, and so what happens is he uploads 15 times more,
Do you think
has
your
less than a
audience
50.
For the record, that's exactly what Steven Crowder used to do against the Young Turks. That's all I'm gonna say.
Just surprise him like that.
Yeah. No. Upload 15 fucking videos about TYT every time.
So the audience.
Well, that's
Do
why
you
he wants to
think that your
debate you, is so he
audience-
can build his.
Do you
Sam,
think
come on.
your audience
Yeah,
cares
yeah.
that I only have 1 million subscribers and you have what, 6 or 7 million
I think.
subscribers?
Let me answer. Can I
don't
answer your
think
question?
they
Can I
do.
answer your question? Can I answer your question?
Sure.
You want me to answer your question? My audience would say Sam who?
How did you
Professors
know
on the-
I ended
This is
my
what-
show
okay, he's not
early
gonna talk.
last week, Stephen? If your audience
Because
doesn't even
you're
know
an
me,
idiot,
how
and
did you
half
know
of your
that?
staff
Do
doesn't
you watch
like
my
you.
show?
Sam, fake stand-up comic who we can't find any footage about online. Let
I'm
me
not
finish.
a stand-up comic.
Oh, you're not? Okay, that makes sense because everything that I've seen is incredibly unfunny and unentertaining. Which may explain the audience.
Irony alert, Steven.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
I forgot these parts. Like I didn't realize it was.
Do they actually debate, or is it?
No, it's just him fucking flailing and just trying to be like, half your staff doesn't like you, which is ironic. Again, every single thing he said here about Sam Cedar was projection. His staff, we now know, fucking despised him. Half of those guys that were in this video are now not a part of the Steven Crowder universe any longer.
Not even not gay Jared. What was his
Oh
name?
yeah, that was the first one that left. That left.
Really?
He left years ago. Yeah, and literally said that he would like try to put his penis on like the shoulders of men in the studio, on like the tour bus and stuff. And also on top of that, he used to do the thing like the fake stand-up comedian thing is incredible because
Yeah,
like,
that's
that's
so
you.
funny. He's like, what's something that really hurt me?
I was right.
All right, yeah, you can
run
run away.
away.
You run away twice. Cold feet again.
Come on, Stephen.
Wow.
Becoming extremely irate, Stephen went off on Ethan, switching his camera over to his co-host and left the call within minutes of Sam showing up. No debate happened because according to Stephen, Ethan took the coward's way out. But then again, Ethan Klein has never claimed to be a master debater, which Stephen was aware of, referring to Ethan as a layup in the days ahead of the debate. Not everyone is as experienced in the great halls of debate. I get it, I'm the same way. But Stephen, on the other hand, does this kind of thing for a living. You would expect a little bit more from someone like him. And despite how much he loves to insist that Change My Mind isn't a debate, Stephen prides himself on his ability to have open discussions on divisive issues that challenge our beliefs, with college students who aren't Sam Cedar. Being blindsided by Sam in this instance still doesn't explain why Stephen has gone to such lengths to avoid a conversation with him in the past. Is it because Sam is just an unfair, malicious debater who, as Stephen claims, everyone tries to avoid? Well, I just don't think that really fits. So maybe it's just the simpler answer, that Steven Crowder is just not good in debates, and knows it's harder to use disingenuous rhetorical tactics to manipulate the conversation when it's someone capable of calling him out. Steven has demonstrated that he is incapable of defending his ideas on a genuine debate stage, and I think it's something he's always been insecure about. Much like Ben Shapiro, he'd prefer to take pot shots at college students that he can easily package into a triggered SJW compilation.
At least Ben does debate from time to time, though.
Yeah.
Like, Steven Crowder does not have the same skills of rhetoric.
That gets millions of views on his channel. That's what reaches a bigger audience and makes his arguments
No, they do the same shit. It's just like, it's all cherry-picked data. It's all completely ridiculous. None of it is actually, like, you are taking advantage of people's good nature in that circumstance, and you're overpowering them by, in Ben's case, it's just like speaking fast and just like dropping, gish galloping, dropping cherry-picked data points over and over again. And then also, just like every very skilled debater that people see as like brilliant online, a big part of debating, a big part of debate culture is basically taking logical fallacies and trying to rationalize them. So, like, one example is like just taking like an incredibly exaggerated example. Like when someone says, oh, I think that there should be a minimum wage, just going, why not? Why not make the minimum wage $100 an hour? Like, and normally in a normal circumstance, or even in like a actual debate with a moderator, that wouldn't stand, because you would say, okay, well, you can't just, that's not what the argument is. That's not what the argument the other person is presenting. You just took it and you ran with it. You're making the other side forcibly assume or adopt that position. Whereas, yes, it's reductio ad absurdum. Thank you, Chatter, for being the biggest fucking nerd in here. I was trying to hide my nerd power level. Okay? But although that is a logical fallacy that would not be utilized in an argument where there's a moderator, debate lords take advantage of having no real moderator that understands logical fallacies and will turn around and rationalize it and be like, well, why not? Like, I'm just trying to understand your logical boundaries. And it's like, no, you're not. You're trying to belittle your interlocutor. That's all you're doing. You are trying to belittle their position by advocating for an argument, or claiming that they're advocating for an argument that they never made. So just remember that. That is like what the majority of the debate lords online do. And then their audiences will then follow along with that narrative and will make it seem like you assumed a position that you never actually said. Kind of like what the chatters were doing earlier when we were talking about the Jonah Hill shit, right? Putting words in your mouth, clipping something out of context, and then running along with it. And that's why they're unbearable fucking losers for the most part. That's it. See, this guy probably is a debate pervert. He said bad example. The irony is that bad example that he's talking about is one that Ben Shapiro has literally made. I know that that is one that Ben Shapiro has literally made. I've used it in the past, as a matter of fact. I've pointed to it So you're wrong. It is actually a very good example. Okay? It's a very good example because it's one that Ben Shapiro has quite literally made in debate. Okay? And everything that you do going forward will only out you further as a debate pervert, a debate pedophile, if you will. See, you're doing it. You're doing it right now. No, I'm not. I have other reasons for saying it. I will not elaborate.
Look the best, after all. But at least Ben actually has real debates sometimes. Speaking of which, why don't we check in on how these two besties are doing now?
Well, folks, I'm sure many of you have seen the controversy that has broken out between, I would say, our former friend, Steven Crowder. I'm personally insulted.
Just because the whole segment ended up being you fighting people who didn't agree. Okay, shut the fuck up.
By Steven's behavior here, it
still
really
doing
is
it.
one of the ugliest things I've ever seen.
Oh, well, that's sad to hear. Steven and Ben used to have such a close bond. Yeah, they were so cute together.
Lawyer present? Do I need a half Asian builder?
Oh, just copping a peek.
These two have always had a long history of genuine friendship under their belt. One that predates online fame, with Ben Shapiro being Steven's first
Ben wouldn't
lawyer
like
who
him.
helped him negotiate his original
doesn't seem
deal
to
with
like the
Fox
cheap
News.
jokes in the
That's
same
how
way.
far back they go. They've helped each other out more than a few times professionally, which is why they effectively split the conservative community in half at the beginning of 2023 with their falling out. There's a lot of petty gossip to get into here, but trust me, we're gonna go over all of it. So sit back, relax with a steaming mug of Black Rifle coffee in one hand and your
yeah.
baby Matt Walsh plushie in the other, and let's get into it.
Those are real things, the baby Matt Walsh plushie.
On January
know Black
17th
Rifle
of this year, Steven Crowder published a 27-minute video ominously titled "It's Time, to, stop, to his main channel of almost 6 million subscribers.
That to his
with
wife?
no conventional intro, no jokes, and no cringy.
Yeah,
that wasn't his decision.
No, he said it's time to stop going out to get groceries when I need to go to the gym. Because there's dudes out there. There's other dudes out there. What if they're hotter than me?
Yeah.
Fellas, if you let your wife go out to get groceries while she's 8 months pregnant, when you're supposed to go to the gym, she might be out there fucking dudes.
Yeah.
Okay? Is this your child? You don't even know.
No, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, 70% chance she's getting railed. Okay?
The music video, thank Christ. Stephen has almost a somber approach in making vague allusions to a conversation that he admits he's actively avoided.
This has been a long time coming. This is a conversation that I've actively avoided, sidestepped, and I've hoped and prayed that it not be necessary behind the scenes for a long while, but that's no longer possible. This has to stop, or I'm going to have to stop. This may just not be for me anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty intense, huh? Stephen has spent his entire adult life.
It was so dramatic. And then when the reveal, oh God, that was such a fun week. Because the reveal was that he said no to $50 million. Like, what an insane.
He did it for the grassroots conservative pundits, though. You know?
Yeah, no, he did it for the grassroots racism.
Yeah.
The major point of contention was that they would cut his pay if he was so racist that he got banned off YouTube, which is fucking hilarious. And in many respects, I also kind of understood where he was coming from because they were hiring him for the racism.
Yeah.
It's not like they were hiring him to be anti-racist.
It's like this. It's like the surfing thing with Jonah Hill. It's
Yeah.
like this is what you're hiring me for.
Yeah.
because I'm a racist. I'm not
We
going to
keep going back to Jonah Hill, even though
it's
all
hard.
three of us are big Jonah Hill defenders.
Yeah. Damn it.
Famously, as established by chat. Well, you guys aren't, but I am. And now I sucked you into it.
You did.
All your
If there's a
Jonah Hill defending was making me
political
nervous in the corner.
Yeah.
What could possibly be so serious that it makes him question his future in the industry?
For the first time, I have to say that I believe many of those in charge in the right-leaning media are actually at odds with what's best for you, the viewer, the customer, and more importantly, the country.
Oh, shit, here we go.
We here at Mug Club, we thought that we were all in this together, that we were fighting the media, entertainment, industrial complex. But too many of those in charge of the big conservative platforms are verifiably in bed with them. Big tech is in bed with Big Con. The people I thought were fighting for you, a lot of it has been. a big con.
Now that is obviously a very provocative statement, and I have to think that Stephen chose his words very carefully here. He's trying to elicit interest, teasing us into believing there's some big bad enemy out to attack the little guy. He's hyping up whatever it is we're about to hear next as some earth-shattering revelation they could expose.
What little guy doesn't get 50 million contracts though? Like all the little guys are getting that, right?
He's also doing the whole like drinking his own Kool-Aid thing, like pretending that conservatives aren't in cahoots with big corporations. He's like, oh, these guys and big tech are like together.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like, no, you're the only one who's saying they're not. Like,
Yeah, no, they absolutely are. He was a truth teller in many respects. Yeah, I love that conversation because there was like correct statements being expressed on both sides because they just like hate each other now. They were just like flinging shit by just like outing very like well-known talking points.
Conservative media as we know it. What is Big Con and who's a part of it? Well, he doesn't exactly tell us, at least not in this video, but he does go on to detail a contract that he had been offered by an unnamed conservative media group, which included terms so restrictive and offensive that Stephen went so far as to call it a slave contract.
I will transition Mug Club into a full-scale network with independent content creators who don't want to be locked into slave contracts. There's no need to be enslaved like this.
These terms basically said that if Stephen's YouTube channel got demonetized again, he could see his payment listed in the contract slashed as much as 25% by the company making the offer. But again, doesn't say who that is.
If blank is boycotted or dropped by more than 50% of the advertising partners, the company is not able to replace them within 90 days, the fee will be reduced by 25%.
Though Stephen does say enough to allege that whoever offered him this deal is deliberately trying to take advantage of him, suggesting they're
any way you can pay them back.
Bowing down to censorship to the detriment of conservative principles, and that smaller conservative personalities should be mindful of any deal that may be presented to them to avoid getting locked into something they can't get out
so
of.
anti-free market.
Just subdue you a little bit. Just soften your edges a little bit. Just play ball a little more so we can keep our content all monetized. I won't do that, and I'm willing to bet that most of you won't either. Let me know just how many of you won't.
Let me know how many of you will just go the extra mile of racism. Like, how dare these guys openly in the contract tell me I should just stick to dog whistles and not just go full fucking, KKK. Fucked up.
It's compelling though. Like
no more like doing like the George Floyd execution, but obviously not in the same way because he didn't get executed, unfortunately. Fuck, it's so bad.
Enter in your email at stopbigcon.com.
This, as Stephen probably planned, ignited wide speculation of who could have offered this slave contract in the first place. But most seem to assume Ben Shapiro's very own Daily Wire is the culprit. The company that employs Candace Owens, Matt Walsh, Jordan Peterson. I mean, they're one of the biggest sites out there.
I think, you know what I just realized? If you were to ask every single person in Steven Crowder's fan base, would you have $50 million and you can only use dog whistles? Like, there would not be a single person in that fan base that would say no to that contract. No. Every single person would say yes to that contract. Fuck it. People in my audience would go the extra mile and like become conservative commentators that don't, push the boundaries so much that they get demonetized. Who the fuck would say no to that?
Yeah, everyone's saying I would.
Yeah, like,
it's
listen.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's just like an absurd amount of money.
Yeah, people have gone to Kick and went on the fuck Hasan train for much less, okay? That's all I'm going to say.
And as confirmed by their CEO, Jeremy Boring, in his own video the following day, the Daily Wire had in fact approached Stephen with this lucrative contract they believed was not only fair, but grossly misrepresented by Stephen in his video. Now, if there's anything I know about Jeremy Boring, it's that he lives up to his fucking name. So I'm going to try to get through this snooze fest as fast as we can. Something we have to understand before going further, though,
well,
is
we
that
love Steven Crowder.
Gets banned a lot. It's kind of his thing, really. He acts controversial, gets punished for it, then cries victim. It's pathetic, but you have to understand this works for Steven's brand. It helps drive more traffic over to his own website. Making people think that you're constantly on the brink of losing your platform will galvanize them to support you in other more profitable ways. They purchase the content, you lock behind a paywall, they buy your merch, subscriptions, whatever it is. Steven's fans are more likely to buy Mug Club when the threat of suspension is constantly looming over Steven's brand. But losing his YouTube revenue would also mean less money is being funneled to the Daily Wire if they were to ever partner. And even though the Daily Wire would be willing to cover a lot of the financial burden if they were to lose advertisers as a result of Steven's controversial segments, as a company looking to make money, they still have to consider their own best interests.
And that's all this was meant to accomplish. You say,
yeah, that's kind of capitalism, isn't it?
Yeah. Just free market.
When you think about it. Interesting that Steven Crowder all of a sudden is like pro-labor
Insulate
rights.
me from the...
No, he wants labor rights for racism.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like, it's kind of fucked up.
Racist.
Yeah.
well, it's the same in the end anyway, because you're still telling him, if you say something YouTube doesn't like, we're taking away your money. Well, no, if YouTube would be the one taking away the money. We're just saying that we can't bear the entire brunt of that.
After all, as Forbes outlines, the Daily Wire is one of the biggest outlets on Facebook by a wide margin and appears on the top 10 Apple podcast charts. They can't...
It's because of how censored they are, though, really. That's
totally
what's going on. Gaia, get down. Get down.
Aww.
Down.
It's so hard. Oh, yes.
She did a...
That
she
power.
looks so defiant. She looks so fucking defiant when I tell her to get down. What are you looking at? No.
Just a pounce now.
Can't be putting themselves at such risk of losing that position, since existing on Facebook helps them reach so many people.
Perfect.
So of course, from a business perspective, it makes sense for the Daily Wire to include that specific clause in the contract. If Steven is earning them less money, then why should he be paid the full $50 million they've offered him? Which, yeah, is something else Steven conveniently left out of his original video. I wonder why that is. Could it make him look ungrateful? Like a whiny baby looking for charity in the form of tens of millions of dollars?
Steven's philosophy seems to be, I deserve to be paid millions and millions and millions of dollars, whether my show drives the revenue or not. That's not a business relationship. He's not looking for a business relationship, he's looking for a benefactor.
Because just to summarize here,
but that
Steven
is what,
Crowder was offered a payout of
if you're a
50
political movement,
of course,
you got to insulate your bravest warriors.
Of course he's looking for a benefactor, because that's how these operations are run.
Yeah.
Steven Crowder has never worked in an institution, which, by the way, Jeremy Boring correctly pointed out, again, spicy. He had never, up until that moment, ever worked at a media outlet that wasn't just running red and quite literally getting money from oil barons to keep cutting the same propaganda they were cutting.
Wait, surely Daily Wire takes the same money from...
Yes, Daily Wire was started, again, by oil barons, literally. They claim to be in the green now, but I don't believe it.
Well, they opened their own oil wells.
Probably because they didn't pay Steven $50 million
finally
to join the show.
I think that more content creators, even the ones who don't get involved in politics, should talk about how this freak says the most vile shit without getting a real meaningful punishment. But if anyone else says bitch in the first 30 seconds of their video, they might get their channel deleted. Yeah, it's really fucked up. YouTube monetization is so fucked. The fact that Steven Crowder can be monetized, and yet like most of my videos that I make are unmonetized after a day, until I fucking complain publicly on Twitter, and then there's already been a manual review, by the way, and then they magically get remonetized, is so frustrating.
Ours don't even, when they're manually reviewed, they still get rejected.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
it's
what I'm
fucked.
saying.
Yeah.
I get manually reviewed, they reject it, and then sometimes I'll go back to YouTube and I'll look at the YouTube and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There's like 11 videos in a row have been demonetized. Like, and not all of these are like really spicy subjects either. What is happening here? And then I'll tweet about it and then they'll magically remonetize again.
Just digging into your back.
It's awesome.
$50 million over the
cute.
span of 4 years, with a guarantee of a little under 200 episodes per year, which equates to only 4 90-minute broadcasts a week, not to mention a 4-week minimum vacation. That's what Steven calls a slave contract. But Jeremy was quickly backed up by the Daily Wire's biggest personality, Steven's own former best friend, Ben Shapipi, on Twitter.
My coochie pink, my booty hole brown.
As well as his own broadcast later that week. It was only after this exchange that Steven brought out the big guns, publicly releasing a phone call between him and Jeremy Boring that Steven had recorded without the CEO's knowledge.
Motherfuckers who say I didn't want to do this are always motherfuckers who wanted to do it, by the way. Straight up.
I guess this was supposed to prove how unreasonable and slimy Jeremy was being, but he kind of proved the opposite just by being this much of a snake, I think.
Let's say it's a kid who comes in with 500,000 YouTube subscribers or something like that, or 100,000. Let's say it's some other kid you're paying 6 figures to come in and do it. There's not the penalty of the demonetization or if they're removed from iTunes, Apple, YouTube.
Yeah, sure there would be. If making money off of those platforms is part of how you're justifying the salary you're paying someone, then or the fee I keep saying salary, the fee you're paying someone, then when those go away, everybody loses money. You can't pay the same amount with less revenue.
How about you create a different business model?
Even when you listen to the call itself, Jeremy sounds anything but uncharitable to Steven, politely explaining his company's position while Steven moans about wanting to be more offensive than what the Daily Caller will allow. If he really wants to be a provocative idiot, then he needs to accept the consequences that
Steven's
could
YouTube
follow
channel
as
is
a
not
result.
making
They're
$50
still
million
willing to work with
No,
him,
no.
even in the event that
Insane.
I mean, Mud Club or like the merch?
No, not even with the fucking Mug Club. No.
No
Nor.
They're getting a lot better since you went to France. I don't know what happened over there.
I learned. No, that's it's insane. Of course, they're not making 50 million.
And even if with a 25% cut, 37 million, still way more than his channel's making. So 100%,
100,000%.
Yeah, but what about the little racists, huh?
Yeah.
Think of the grassroots.
That's what is like genuinely fucking frustrating. Mug Club probably makes like 10K max. No, it probably makes more.
So much.
I reckon that.
But I doubt that Steven Crowder makes.
I reckon he'll make.
I don't think he makes more money.
Yeah,
at least I don't think he makes more than I do. I don't think.
Yeah, I reckon he would make a lot from Mud Club, but that's probably all cancelled now. Like,
no, he
Mud
still
Club's
has
his
it.
own thing.
Yeah, he still has it.
But maybe people don't like it.
Before though, Mug Club was like under the Blaze banner, so it was just like all the money was going to the Blaze. So he wanted to make it his own thing.
I understand with Mug Club and like Black Rifle Coffee. When did like conservatives become like those like really lame millennials that like don't talk to me until I've had my coffee kind of go?
Yeah.
Like it's such a weird branding.
Yeah,
you
don't understand. That's like these are big badasses, dude. These are veterans who say racist stuff.
And love coffee.
And love coffee. Everybody loves coffee. Come on.
He gets banned. It would just equate to a marginally smaller profit, 25% less. This isn't about big tech, it's about business. And the reality that when you play stupid games, sometimes you win stupid prizes. You just can't expect a company like the Daily Wire to abandon all of its interests just to accommodate your annoying edginess. Calm down and grow the fuck up. But it only got pettier from there, with Ben doubling down his support for Jeremy, tweeting, "It's nasty to attack my company and Daily Wire Plus host as a big con by lying about the meeting of a non-binding term sheet. It's despicable to plan weeks in advance to attack my best friend and your friend by setting up and secretly taping a phone call, all to grow your email list." Sorry, that's the best Shapiro voice I can do. I'm not done, so get used to it. Prior to October 5th, Steven's agent requests we send an offer. October 5th, we submit a non-binding term sheet. November 2nd, Steven tells Jeremy he wants $30 million per year and us to send him a new offer, refusing to redline the term sheet. November 14th, we told Steven we couldn't do that. December 12th, Steven apparently registers stopbigcon.com, knowing he's leaving the Blaze, and that we haven't provided him an offer to his liking. Steven needed a plan. Attacking us was the plan. December 15th, Steven announces he's leaving the Blaze. January 7th, Steven texts Jeremy in friendly fashion to ask if they could talk. January 9th, Steven calls Jeremy and secretly tapes him. This means 96 days elapsed between when he received the term sheet and when he secretly taped Jeremy. And it means that 36 days elapsed between when he decided to attack Daily Wire and Jeremy by purchasing Stop Big Con. And when he called Jeremy
Jeremy to tape him. Gross. Once more, if you actually care about the supposedly horrific non-binding first offer term sheet offering $50 million for 4 years, Jeremy reads it line by line here. It is quite simple. If your show loses money, you lose money. This is how capitalism works. You know who knows this? Steven Crowder. That's why he has a piss off YouTube segment in which he deliberately does not say the things that will get him kicked off of YouTube and directs people behind his paywall. He must be a shill for YouTube or something. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Sorry. I had to, okay? For the first time, I think, ever, Ben was publicly duking it out with the man he had started a career alongside. And he wasn't alone either. The Daily Wire's own Candace Owens referred to Steven making a total bitch move. And Jordan Peterson originally sided with Steven, tweeting out Steven's initial video before deleting it as soon as he realized it was about the company that employed him. Good save there, man. The reality is that Steven benefits from big tech just as much as the Daily Wire does. Without mainstream platforms like YouTube and Facebook, these guys wouldn't be able to have such an empire of their own. These sites may have basic rules on what they'll allow, but Steven cannot deny they make it possible to run and operate a brand outside of the conventional networks that are usually far more predatory than what the Daily Wire was offering. As journalist Danny DiPlacido put it, Crowder, Shapiro, Owens, and Peterson all use the platforms of big tech to boost their brand and become wealthy, powerful influencers, all while bitterly complaining that the odds were stacked against them, while the millions of dollars floating around in the conservative media sphere tell a radically different story. The nerve of Steven Crowder to complain about such a generous contract from the comfort of his cushy job as a mouthpiece for the Republican Party is ironic, especially considering what else we would learn about Steven's business
Xi Jinping, where are you?
over the following months. But this all only came to light after a series of allegations that shined a light on Steven's more impulsive personal side, putting him at further odds with an audience that was already beginning to turn on him.
Steven has a lot going on. That's the best way to say it. There's a lot going on, and that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's not a lot going on in their life. I would like to implore my audience and everybody that is paying attention to the situation
I don't want
not
to go in the
condemn him,
cage.
but to pray for him.
After a cryptic message from Candace Owens hinting at some kind of personal difficulties in Steven's life that would explain his recent falling out with the Daily Wire, Steven took to his own channel to publicize his divorce from his wife, Hillary. But if you've watched this video already, you know it's kind of fucking strange. Let's go through it.
Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical
It's just
abuse
so
at all
wild to
on
not
either
think
side.
about the optics of anything
And
he's
no,
doing. Like,
this
he's
was
just
not,
so convinced that he's
my
right.
choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is
it's enough.
completely permitted. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad.
They don't
and that divorce
ask
is
the
for them.
husband if the woman's
But
allowed
in
to
today's
divorce
legal
him.
system, my beliefs don't matter. In Texas, divorce is permitted when one party wants it, period.
So one of the first things you'll notice is Steven's repeated mentioning of no-fault divorce laws in Texas, which allow either party to leave a marriage without cause, which as many have noted is kind of a really weird thing to bring up given the context here. Like, how are we supposed to read that exactly? Do you want your wife to stay with you against
The
her
government
will?
should
she
keep
not
my
be
wife married to
allowed
me.
to leave? This is the implicit message a lot of people picked up on in
insane.
this video. But I learned it also tracks with statements he's made in the past.
Oh, the
If
big
you
ball, the big dick.
devalue marriage to nothing more
There
than
you
a
go.
hopeless endeavor, well, then you open the floodgates. It doesn't matter. You can have no-fault divorce laws. And, you know,
I think
it's a
Alexa
big
was
argument
eating all
you
the
hear all the
bull
time.
And it follows a bizarre pattern of men today becoming increasingly critical of no-fault divorce, even in abusive situations.
A year into
Oh,
the
I hate these
relationship,
guys.
it gets really, really abusive.
Oh, that's fucking
You-
destiny.
From both.
That destiny,
anyone,
yeah.
Anyone really.
Go
And it
on.
happens.
Go on,
I'm just-
go on.
My point is, I'm
Hypothetically.
just, yeah, even though it might be rare from what you guys think,
It is. Go on.
if it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them
There
to
are so many guys on
Just
that side.
look at this
that's not a real
podcast.
even though it might be like physically abusive?
You got to endure. People are too.
You want to stick in the
People
relationship?
are
as
just.
opposed to-
I mean, like, people I'm gonna be nowadays honest. are just. Everybody quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special, so I can fuck up this entire situation based upon me being special.
It's just a very strange thing for Steven to harp on
like
this
the
much.
hustler.
Just like how he feels the need to clarify that his
mentality that's
kids had nothing to do with the separation.
Now, in all this, one thing I want to be really clear about is certain. True north here is that my children are blameless. completely without fault.
Thank God you cleared that one up. For a minute there, I was convinced your 2-year-old twins were the culprits. I'm glad you put those rumors to bed. Stephen ultimately wants everyone to know that this divorce
they
is not
Googled
something
and gaga'd
he
way too
wanted,
fucking
despite
hard,
it being
dude.
alleged after the fact that Hillary only filed for divorce in December 2021 after she learned Stephen had been talking to divorce lawyers himself a month prior, so that's all a bit questionable. But I'm not exactly one to take Stephen Crowder's word at face value at this point. In fact, he's so incapable of taking a sliver of accountability, the only thing he blames himself for is picking wrong.
She wanted something else for her life. That's not my choice. She simply wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now, of course...
Again, he just keeps saying that, like... He keeps saying it like he wishes the law would not allow her to leave. That's very strange, man.
It's small government unless someone personally wants to break up with me. Then they should
we
be sent
want
to jail.
big government.
They should be sent to jail, but we should also still be together.
Yeah.
She put
Of
in
course,
jail
look,
with me.
I get it. There are multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong, and that's certainly
That's
not
the only thing I did wrong here. I picked the wrong woman.
the fault of my children.
Yeah, I don't think that's the issue here, but whatever, man. Stephen spends the rest of the video accusing Candace of extortion, which she didn't exactly take kindly, to say the least.
Steven Crowder on election night was our friend. He was on the backstage with all of us, laughing, having a great time. He even sent me a retrospectively very flirty message thereafter on Instagram about how nice I looked on election night, even though I didn't respond to it. It's very erratic to go from being friends with somebody, being with them on election night, laughing, having a great time, to suddenly wanting to ruin their entire company. This is what I was thinking. This is a broken man who is on some sort of a spiral. It is likely his divorce that led to this moment. He's acting erratic, he's acting panicked, and this at least gives us some sort of an excuse for why he behaved this way. I then went onto my platform and I said, pray for Steven Crowder, honestly, because that's what he needs. He needs a prayer. And apparently, nobody...
She said, bless her heart. That's what she did, which is like a very common Southern thing to say for those of you who don't know, the Australians. You know that? You know that saying? Like oh, bless your heart. Yeah, when you say like bless your heart, it means like fuck you.
Yeah.
You fucking piece of
I
shit.
saw the other day, this dude was like abusing a server.
At a restaurant.
Yeah. And there was going off, and then at the end he walks on and says, God bless you.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
Is that a
that's
nice
how
thing?
Christians operate. They'll say like bless your heart.
He's answering those prayers right now because he's still acting erratic. He's now upping the ante and suggesting that
Guy, you root?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's essentially what he asked her on election night.
It's weird. It's like this server came up and said, "Do you root?
Do you root?
I reckon I root heaps. I root heaps."
And you sound like an Australian fuckboy.
Can you say that?
I root heaps.
I root heaps.
I root heaps.
Yeah, that's...
I thought he wanted me to say it. Yeah, you can say that. It's
I wrote heaps is a very normal thing.
I root heaps.
Or you could say he roots heaps. If someone fucks a lot, you say
he roots heaps. Yeah. Alexa, he roots heaps.
I extorted him. I will not take that lightly.
Another detail that Stephen miraculously forgot to include in this video is that Hillary made a specific and private request via attorney that he not discuss their divorce publicly at all, according to Yashar Ali, whose Substack article we will be discussing in depth. This article, of course, was published alongside the now infamous Ring camera footage, in which
It's
Stephen
crazy
can be
that he
seen
just had
verbally
access to this
accosting
by
his
the wife.
in summer 2021,
Who
while she
got
was
this
still
footage?
pregnant
The wife.
with
The
their
family of the
like,
wife.
you've discussed
some kind
publicly,
of
so
cartoonish
yes.
villain as he chomps away at a cigar and barks orders at the soon-to-be mother of his children, demanding she fulfill her wife's duty.
Bro, she is literally barefoot and pregnant, which is like another common conservative trope. It's like women need to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. And it is wild that he is just like screaming like a baby at his insanely pregnant wife.
Yeah.
And arguing why she isn't allowed to take their one car to the store, as if this is some kind of change my mind segment.
It's not weird to have a camera there at all. What are you talking about? It's an entry point into the house. It is the most normal place to have a camera.
If you're making 50 million in 4 years, I'm pretty sure you need cameras around your house.
Yeah.
Because I would want to break in there. Allegedly.
Or break in there and stay there for months.
Yeah.
And then never
That's
leave.
a better way of doing it.
If you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There's no groceries. I'd be happy.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill.
My grill.
I need to grill.
Stephen,
You're not taking the car.
Stephen,
You are not.
then I
taking
will ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not about Stephen.
Get an Uber.
Watch it.
Okay, Stephen, I can't.
You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're gonna take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back.
Oh God, I love that. No, it's so sick when he says that doesn't work for me either. It's so good.
I'm boxed in here.
Yeah,
a fully grown man in his garage.
Yeah, blowing cigar smoke on my incredibly pregnant wife's face. You're boxing me in, Hillary. It doesn't work for me either.
Fucking hell. That cartoon things where he blows smoke in his wife's face.
Every Redditor in response to this video said, I hate Steven, but we can't make conclusions from an out of context video when this came out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see how he abused her after this as well.
Yeah. Okay, listen. This is a little bit more open and shut than the fucking Jonah Hill shit. Okay? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean? This is like an established relationship, a marriage. Him literally pushing every Redditor and XCC. Yeah, okay, I don't care. Listen. There's enough context here. Like, this is not out of context. Even the Jonah Hill shit wasn't out of context. It was in context. How the fuck does this guy make so much money and still can't get another car? I am on CenturyLink and I have 2 cars. Okay, first of all,
Centrelink. Shout out to Centrelink.
What is it Aussie?
Yeah, it's Australian welfare.
It's like
Okay.
youth allowance, job seeker.
See, these
Those are all
fucking-
Australian terms.
These fucking guys on the dole, they got 2 cars, mate.
Exactly. Next
Fucking
on a current affair.
Yeah.
The dole bludger buying 50 cars.
Oh, dude, we gotta watch current affairs
Yeah,
more
it's
too.
great. Oh, there'll be so many dole bludger ones.
Yeah, dole bludger.
Well, didn't you just say that?
No, I said on the dole.
Oh, yeah,
He's
dole
on the
bludger is
fucking
like
dole.
a guy who doesn't want to work and just gets welfare.
You know
and
who I
lives like
heard
a
that
king.
from? That term for the first time? The dole.
No.
What's the guy? Revolve, the fashion guy, the manager.
Oh,
that's the first time I ever heard. Yeah,
The dole.
like welfare being referred to as the dole.
Yeah, they say it in England as well.
Yeah. The fucking dole. Good on ya, numpties fair dinkum. What?
That's not Australian.
Numpties is a thing, but I only started hearing it recently.
The fuck is fair dinkum?
People
Fair
say
dinkum.
dinkum.
Oh, fair dinkum's good. It just means like, well,
It just
I don't
means
know.
good.
Yeah.
So that's fair dinkum.
It's like good. It also sometimes means authentic. It's like a fair dinkum
I didn't realize
Aussie.
how dumb fair dinkum sounds.
Yeah, yeah. It's mainly good.
It's not a joke either.
It's Australian
Fair
is so
dinkum.
strange.
Fair dinkum.
What Australian hood are they from?
For the record, Zero, the reason why he has 1 car, this is speculation, but we think it's it's
Control.
reasonable to speculate, but it's possibly for control.
Yeah.
Like, cause dude, he's definitely rich enough to have 2 vehicles. Okay, come on, like, come the fuck on.
Pick up. I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back.
I love that. I had to run it back. I had to run it back. It doesn't work either.
It doesn't work either.
Now, this is another point of contention many
What does he
have
want her to
rightfully
do?
been quick
You want
to
her to get your
question.
groceries
Why
but not
the
leave?
f does Steven Crowder, a man worth tens of millions of dollars at least, have only 1 car to split between him and his wife? All we can do as outsiders is speculate. But it has been said how abusers tend to keep just 1 car at the house as a way to stifle their partner.
Like, if Jonah Hill had 1 car for him and his girlfriend, it's over. You know what I mean? That's
That's
the
where
We
you
get
draw
one
that's where
surfboard.
I draw the line. That's where I know the red flags are enough for me to be like, okay, he's doing it on purpose.
Mobility and independence, forcing them to stay reliant on their abusive spouse, which makes it harder to escape an abusive situation,
That is a
both
stinky
mentally
penis.
and logistically. Regardless, Stephen
watched it.
insists
Oh.
his wife, who is 8 months pregnant with twins
Sorry,
at
I
this
thought-
point, might
It's like smoky almost. it's you don't want it to be smoky.
No,
No,
it's not.
but it is. It's a stinky penis. that bull had dick cheese. Dude, it's really bad. It's not fair dinkum.
No, that's not fair dinkum.
No, it's not fair dinkum.
And I emphasize, should take an Uber for the errands he insists she complete, which include fetching steaks and grill pellets for her husband. She's literally doing this for
grill
him,
pellets will
and
be
he's
hard
still
if you're
sitting
pregnant.
here treating her like a misbehaving child, expressing her.
The other thing was also that he wanted her to like give the dog the medication, like the cancer meds that the dog needed, but like because she's pregnant, she was like, I don't want to touch this medication because like they usually say like on it like, you know, don't handle this if you're pregnant. Most medication will have some like that. Oh, here it is on the screen. Never mind. Demanding that she handle medicine for his dog she was concerned was toxic to pregnant
Her
women.
concerned that the dog food she'd be dealing with could potentially be harmful for pregnant women. Not that Steven would care about any of that. He's smoking a fucking cigar in front of a pregnant woman, for God's sake. So much for caring about the safety of the unborn, huh, Steve?
Yeah,
Those are his
exactly.
own children, he's hurting. If that's any indication of what an amazing
My
father
kids
he'll
did
turn
nothing
out
wrong.
to be. I mean, it's frankly hard
I
not to
smoked
get
them
mad.
out of my
here.
wife's
In the video,
Yeah.
Steven becomes
They did nothing wrong. They're a little fucked up. They are now unfortunately disabled because I smoked cigars all the time around my pregnant wife, but it's
Gave
okay.
them dog cancer medication.
Yeah.
was more agitated as he asks if Hillary's feeling some constraint and says if she takes the car to, again, get his groceries, then he won't be able to go to the gym, see his parents, or his friends. Just tragic stuff. But you know what would solve that? Using a fraction of your wealth to buy a second car, maybe. I don't know. Steven goes on to demand Hillary show him respect and that discipline is the only way she's getting out of this, whatever the hell that means. She's an adult woman, not a dog.
The only way out of this is discipline and respect.
This is fucked.
I feel like it's
disgusting.
This
yeah.
is just bad.
I also think it's really weird that he's just like smoking a cigar at 12:37 in his backyard. But I guess like, is that a good time to smoke a cigar?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck do you smoke a cigar by yourself in your backyard? Is it like
addiction?
Yeah, it's also
no, it's not. Smoke a cigarette like a normal human. What the fuck?
Yeah, the cigar's a big manly thing. But yeah, if no one is there to see you smoke it, why would you do it?
No, people like the taste. I was addicted to cigars.
We're addicted to cigars.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a really,
were you
really
LARPing
dumb
as a
story.
Cuban revolutionary?
Yeah,
Oh,
really.
Of
No,
course.
I was on exchange in Colombia, and I was going to go to Cuba, and I was like, I'm going to smoke cigars there, but I don't want to be like an idiot gringo who doesn't know how to smoke them. So I'm like, I'm going to practice every day, practice smoking a cigar, and then after 30 days, I was like, oh wait, I'm just addicted to cigars now. Turns out you can't practice smoking.
Just get addicted.
you just become a smoker.
I had that with meth and heroin. I was like, I'll practice a little bit.
Yeah.
So I look impressive while doing it.
Yeah, when you were coming to America.
Yeah. Just addicted.
We're actually the meth capital, Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Aren't you guys a gambling capital too?
And that.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand. Everyone on meth is a winner.
True.
We're at an impasse.
We are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline or respect. Yeah. There you go.
She's going to buy you shit.
I don't give up, Stephen.
Hillary, you give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Stephen, no, we are at an impasse.
Hillary assures
Good on
Stephen
her.
that she loves him and is committed to their marriage, but Stephen not only replies with "I don't love you," he insists that if she were truly committed, she'd put on gloves to deal with the toxic dog medication.
And I need some space. We need to just stop engaging for a little bit, okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never
Whoa.
received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look,
Bitch
I need
made.
to do A, B, C, and D, you just be disciplined about it. You go, no.
I'm gonna take her
But I
out
love
to
you more than
pee.
life itself.
Maybe she
Okay.
needs to pee. Where is her?
Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Become someone, listen to me, day in and day out, worthy of a wife. No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife.
As a
I said as a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not gonna engage. I'm not gonna engage anymore.
And as Hillary calls his abuse sick, Stephen snaps back with a stern "watch it."
I love you, but Stephen, your abuse is sick.
Watch it.
It's sick.
Watch it.
Yeah, watch it's fucked.
And watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get.
The two eventually head inside, where Stephen and Hillary have both confirmed that Stephen shouted the words "I will fuck you up" before Hillary took the car and retreated to her parents' house, afraid for what Stephen could have done had she stayed in the home.
I'll text me what you need. I'll get you what you need.
Why you?
I mean, I was going to say, why isn't it in prison? I guess if you didn't
I love you.
actually beat her.
I'm committed to you.
This is so fucked. How is she still saying I love you after someone says I'll fuck you up?
Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not gonna.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not
Why
committed
is
to
he
anything.
not doing it?
You just said I love you. I'm committed to it. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves.
I need to.
Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
Walk the dogs while I sit here and smoke a cigar.
Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs take?
When approached for comment, Hillary's family issued the following statement to Yashar. Hillary is currently living alone in Dallas, apart from her family and support system in Michigan, and is focused on taking care of her young children. She is not prepared at this time to speak about her divorce becoming public or the misleading statements made by Stephen about their relationship. The truth is that Hillary spent years hiding Stephen's mentally and emotionally abusive behavior from her friends and family while she attempted to save their marriage. She was the one who was asking to work on the relationship to keep the marriage intact for their unborn children. In June of 2021, Stephen left their home to pursue elective surgery. Hillary urged him to get the help he needed to address his abuse with the hope that their marriage could be saved and that they could peacefully live together as a family. Instead, Stephen refused to do so and chose not to be with his wife during the birth of their twin children. After the birth, Stephen bought a townhouse and left their home permanently. Hillary was unaware that Stephen had hired a divorce attorney and asked his assistant to cut Hillary off financially. There is significant documentation substantiating these facts. We hope that Stephen will cease speaking publicly about his personal matters in an untruthful manner. We also look forward to there being full transparency in the legal process so there is fairness and accountability for the actions that caused the divorce, and to ensure the outcome is what is in the best interest of the young children. Stephen's response to this leak is pretty much what you'd expect, that his words were taken out of context, and that the footage we saw was deceptively edited, something that Stephen has had plenty of experience doing.
Look, broken marriages are ugly, and in them people do ugly
They made her
things.
look more
Myself,
pregnant than she actually was.
Yeah,
They
come
made her
on.
belly
I wasn't
bigger.
smoking a cigar that hard. There wasn't that
However,
much smoke.
Yeah.
Due to recent
That was green screen
misleadingly
smoke.
edited leaks to the tabloid press without context and not subject to consequences of the court.
I'm just wondering what context could justify threatening to f up your pregnant wife. I'm curious if Stephen has a defense for that.
So today, I have filed a motion to officially unseal all files as they relate to the matter of legal
I remember him saying
records,
this. I don't remember anything
finances,
coming of it.
relevant medical records, including mental health history or evaluations, depositions, and any
She's
motions or
crazy,
sanctions
everybody. She's
from the
crazy.
courts of Texas. I will not be leaking private marital information to the press, but if the privacy agreements are not...
But also at the same time, I will
will.
subtly imply that I'm going to do exactly that, and also mention to everybody that wants to speculate that I am, you know, I'm claiming that my wife is crazy.
Respected by all parties, I will address all that is a matter of irrefutable legal record in full context next week.
But some of the supporters he still has left have made the argument that, well, all marriages are hard. One example of an argument isn't enough evidence of abuse, though Yashar, who publicized the video in the first place, goes on to cite a series of text and audio messages from Stephen that he personally reviewed before publishing his story, of which Stephen reportedly admitted numerous times to having a volcanic temper, and that he has been working to control it through therapy. Though at one point in the audio messages, as Yashar testifies, Stephen Crowder gets upset because he is frustrated that he is not getting enough credit for not having lost his temper for months, but adds that he can't promise he won't lose it again.
Haven't beaten my wife in
Another
months.
point to note here is
Congratulate
that
me,
Stephen and his wife
please.
exchanged a series of messages the day before the birth of their twins, in which Hillary pleaded
Video is
with her
Jay
then
Aubrey's
husband
video
one
chat.
last time, stating, "Stephen, I'm afraid of you and your rage. You are scary. You scare me. I want to heal things, but you have to take responsibility. Stop
Clout
blaming
chasing.
others."
His wife was clout chasing. Who amongst us hasn't been in a deadlocked in a relationship for years and years and have many children, or I mean have carry the twins of the guy only to serve the top of the hour ad break, which goes to the top of the hour. It's hard to do this while also trying to fucking maintain control of this fucking demon in the background. You know what I mean?
Dude, good work on putting that. Would hurt your back.
It hurts. It hurts my back a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle, down.
Down, Kyle.
Not
down.
Kyle, down. Top of the hour ad breaks scare me constantly. Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, eat the penis.
Eat the penis.
Oh, look at the penis. Where's the penis?
Oh, don't even touch it, dude. Oh God. Nope. She's like, nope, not interested. Or no, or
It's too stinky for her.
yeah. She loves that stinky shit. Anyway, I'm afraid of top of the hour ad break as well. when I'm not a subscriber. But if I'm a subscriber, it doesn't matter. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
Stop feeling pain and sadness only for yourself.
Almost
But it's not
done.
like this is the only instance we
Enough.
have of Steven losing his temper and flying
Get
off
down.
the handle.
I know, but I'm trying to do promotion right now. Steven, let's go live. Let's make this the best show ever.
Is this already live?
No, but I'm.
You have no idea what I could have been doing, and that camera's turned on?
Well, yeah, but
That's
the
why
way
you get in trouble, Brian.
But you move
That's
like
why you get in trouble.
you move like a jungle cat.
If his own show doesn't indicate he's prone to random emotional outbursts, maybe you'll take the word of his former employees. Shortly after the Ring camera footage was published, the New York Post, of all places, reached out to a handful of current and ex-employees, 10 of which outlined an alleged pattern of abuse, not particularly out of line with the leaked footage we just saw. While most of these names are anonymous thanks to NDAs, one former employee stated they weren't shocked, but that it was pathetic what he did to Hillary, telling the Post, "This might not be the Steven you see on his show, but that was the real Steven." These individuals claim he ran an abusive company, screamed at employees, including his dad, impulsively gave the order to fire random people over Discord, made his underlings complete personal tasks like wash his laundry, and yes, Steven also had a fun little habit of
I'm so shocked to find out that like a guy whose commentary revolves around treating employees poorly
Yeah.
and who like hates labor unions so much he got punched out by a union organizer. That guy is bad to his workers.
Surprising.
This is surprising. What's next? Are you going to tell me he's abusive to his wife? Mr. Traditional Values? Come on. Come on, dude. Yeah, a lot of these motherfuckers like hearing these things, but don't actually enjoy it when they actually see what it's like in the real world. You know what I mean? Very weird.
exposing his genitals to his pals. And I don't even have to say allegedly to this one because it's something he's literally done on camera. But hey man, it's a joke. It's all a joke. It's funny. The only funny thing in this scenario is that
dick's
Steven
funny,
keeps
come
willfully
on. Yeah, I got a
writing
funny
sketches
shaped
where
dick.
he has to show his balls to somebody.
It says, quote, Crowder was known to expose his genitals to staffers.
Well, hold on a second. Yes.
Yeah, well,
yes.
just
wait. I mean, that did happen. I mean, what are you talking about? The Terminator
The
2
joke's
sketch?
gonna be he
Because
doesn't have
remember the
pants
nudies
on
didn't
right
fit?
now.
Oh, is it
that's
that one,
right,
Sam?
yeah. Well, now there
was
are...
it the ET ones through the cornfields where we had to run naked through
Yeah,
the
y'all
cornfields?
were naked in that one, yeah.
We were naked in that one too.
That was a good one. That was at night, though.
Was it Gay Captain America?
But you know you didn't have to make the skit, right? No one's forcing you to drop trowel around your fellow straight guy friends. I mean, something's going on here. Especially when most of these claims were not a part of any sketches. A grand total of 6 separate employees told the Post about incidents they witnessed firsthand, with one citing a specific moment in a van coming back from a 2018 event in Illinois where Jared was asleep in the last row. Steven was in front, and he was joking about what he was going to do, the staffer recalled. He climbed over and dropped his junk on top of Jared's shoulder, going on to
That's
list
not
another
gay,
instant-
Jared. That's
Yeah.
the guy. That,
He's like, come on, you're gay, so you love this, right? I mean,
was
yeah,
he, was he
whatever.
A frat
I'm-
guy? What was his like?
I don't think
upbringing?
so. He's just
He was a theater
Canadian.
guy, yeah.
No, he was just, dude, he was just doing that because, you know, he was like, haha, I bet you like that, don't you? Yeah. Gay guy. I mean, yeah, my dick's getting hard right now thinking about how funny it is to put my dick so close to your face. Yeah.
It's just what boys do, you know? It's
That's
just
true.
boys. Just boys
Yeah.
having fun.
It's just a funny joke, man.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's where Steven exposed himself to not gay Jared in 2017 during a video shoot. But these employees continued. Another one describing a time they witnessed Steven put his testicles on his longtime friend John Goodman, who shook off the
What?
incident and did not return the post.
So this
request
is the
for
same
comment
John
either.
Goodman? The-
No, it's not like the John Goodman.
Oh, okay.
John
I was
Goodman
just like,
from-
what the fuck?
Yeah,
What's
dude.
this
How is he
crossover?
friends with this guy?
Fred Flintstone?
Yeah, John Goodman works for the Daily Louder with Crowder.
He comes
A
in
fourth
just looking for his
employee also
testicles.
alleged they saw Steven expose himself to his former co-host, Dave Landau, at a conference table. It was childish, but then I found out it was something he did. At first, I took it as him trying to be friendly, or one of the guys. Now I see it was a power play, the witness stated. Adding, if your manager at Red Lobster did this, it would be national news. A lot of these employees contend Steven surpassed the title of just a tough boss with the way he ran things, being called an unreasonable micromanager who was not only capable of working every angle of your emotions, but would send out unrealistic assignments after hours and set people up for failure. One former employee adding, it was like a cult where
if you didn't make it, he was like, oh, it's time for the penis again.
You gotta look at it.
All right.
I don't enjoy this any more than you do.
Yeah. Got to do it as a punishment because none of us are gay. Got to do that to prove that we're so straight.
We're so straight. Stare at it.
Yeah, just come on. Just
Look it in the eye.
Hold it with your hands a little bit.
you were all in, and that he did not want you having a life outside of it, often blaming employees for projects failing to live up to his expectations. One employee telling the Post, we'd tell him things wouldn't work when a live show in 2018 didn't go as he had planned, adding, I thought surely Steven, who micromanaged the whole thing, is going to take some responsibility here. But accountability from Steven Crowder is a bit much to ask for. Steven instead decided to use the opportunity to gift each of his employees a book titled Extreme Ownership: How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win.
Sick.
We all thought we were going to get an apology.
That's the right-wing
but we got a
version of
book.
like
It was-
Jonah weaponizing therapy speak. It's him using Navy SEAL speak to
No,
gaslight
exactly.
his friends.
Exactly. That is precisely what he's doing.
It's like a sitcom. His repeated tirades against his own booking agent and father reportedly made former employees uncomfortable. He did it regularly, and it was usually about failing to book someone he wanted on the show. Steven would say, I'm supposed to get stars. I mean, how can you demand respect from your employees when you continuously scream at your own father in front of everybody? I mean, you're a joke. You're being insane. One source concluding, we don't want Steven to suffer. We just want the abuse to stop. Or at least let future employees know what they're getting themselves in.
They sound like libs.
Yeah.
We just want the abuse to stop, or at least let future employees know what they're getting into. Like, it's so strange how when the roles reverse, all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. Interesting.
Which, by the way, I can only hope enough people listen to, especially considering all of the job applications Steven is throwing out on Twitter. With all things considered, it's no wonder why so many people are no longer at Louder with Crowder. According to Dave, Steven was so obsessed with getting the last word on his show that he had a light hooked up to a button behind his desk that, when pressed, would indicate to Dave to shut up.
It became a little weird because a light was put in where it was his rant button. And it was basically a Dave Don't Talk button.
Wait, so there's literally a light bulb?
There was 4 lights in a row.
There
and
were 3
lights. I'm serious. And when it was hit, I wasn't supposed to talk. And they said...
It's just like, bro, you literally did that for years. Like, he fucking owned you, you little gremlin. I'm just like, you're a whole ass divorced dad yourself, and you just sat there and ate it from Steven Crowder, who is somehow even less funny than you are, and you, my friend, are not very funny either. So,
Wait, was it like a regular colored light bulb, or was it like red?
It was like a yellow, a pretty bright yellow, like like yield.
So it's like off camera, but in your eyesight.
Yes, and
would he be the one pressing the button, or was there a producer pressing the button?
He would press it.
So like Mr. Burns, like he had a button under his desk or the table, and when it's Steven's turn to talk and Dave needs to shut the F up, he presses this button.
Yes.
Despite Dave being his literal co-host, Steven was obsessed with having the spotlight to himself. In this podcast alone, Dave accused Steven of censorship, jealousy, and intentionally stifling the careers of people he felt threatened by comedically, reinforcing a claim from another anonymous source who insisted Steven's sentiment of wanting smaller conservative voices heard was hollow. If you were funny or talented, he squashed you. Steven's weird attitude towards Dave Landau became so
unnecessarily strained, eventually reaching a breaking point that Dave could only describe as venomous, when he supposedly uttered the words, "I own you," to his once co-host and apparent friend.
And my phone rings. You know, I don't want to go greatly into the conversation between us, but it was, he's like, do you still want to be on Louder with Crowder? And I said, not at the moment. And he starts going off on me, and now there's a ton of people in my apartment who can hear it.
Wait, like he's literally raising his voice?
He's screaming at me.
Okay, so literally raising his voice, not just being stern, like to the point where it's audible.
It's audible, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, it's started stern, but then it got into telling me that he owns me. And
in those words?
Yes.
Wow.
But he did.
Yeah.
He did.
That's the system.
True.
That's what you
Yeah,
guys
you're
love.
fucking
And he loved
cucked.
it.
That's not taking the spotlight. Like, he hasn't let these guys talk. Yeah, famously, I'm always.
You know
like,
he has lines.
Yeah.
There you go.
I do. I turn it on. I'm constantly flickering at them, but they never follow. It's fucked up.
Oh, lights on.
Yeah. He owns me. It was just. It was.
It's funny because like there's enough schizo haters in here that like some of them now believe that for the rest of their lives, like they're gonna go along with that as a narrative.
Venomous, and I don't know what he was going through at that point, and I just was like, dude, it was all this projection coming at me.
Was this the first time he had yelled at you?
In that way, yes, where it had
This is
come
like
out
the interview
where
with his
I
wife.
saw a different person that I had heard rumors about. I understand that there's going to be a touch of narcissism to anybody who's sort of.
We're not bored.
Yeah, I'm telling them. I'm hitting the tell them you're not bored button right now.
I'm not bored.
I'm not bored, and I love Hasan. He's very handsome.
Dude, they wanted to be on the stream.
Yeah, we forced our way in here.
I did not ask them because I always feel self-conscious. Like I feel like I'm, working them.
I love it.
You're making the guy on the far right nervous again. Give him a compliment. You're so handsome.
Thank you.
You're doing well. You're doing well.
That
You
makes
can
me
do it.
less nervous. Somehow that makes me feel better.
Yeah, my penis is out underneath this desk.
Yeah. It's actually on my shoulder. It's
I'm
so
forcing
big.
them to look at it, and I keep like whipping it around.
Yeah, there's just a mirror over there.
Yeah.
In that field, I get it, but at the same time, it was so over the top that I was trying not to laugh. And then he said, if we were going to tour together in the future, Matt couldn't do his closing bit on stage. Somehow that comes up, so you could tell there was this projection of how he was angry of how well.
What are all these little things that are in the middle?
Yeah, they keep popping up. The anarchist.
The anarchist cookbook, like he had fucking Kim Jong-un.
I love that he's like cucked by his boss, but he has to pretend that he has some kind of advantage. Like, I was actually laughing.
Yeah.
Like, being berated by my boss, kind of funny, because I don't know, that's not a big deal. You know? It's not like this was my
like
life.
me, an adult man who's like much older and actually has done stand-up. I was just being berated by a less talented person.
Hilarious.
He told you to tell your friend, who you don't own, that if he's going to tour with you, he can't end on the closer that kills, that gets standing ovations?
He said it was too dirty. He then, this very oddly telling thing, he's like, this is why you don't have any friends. And I was like, what are you, like,
Wait,
it
he said
literally.
that?
Yeah.
Aw.
I mean, I'm sure the phone call was recorded so we could always hear it. And I'm not saying that to be a jerk. I'm just saying that he legitimately records his phone calls.
Stephen isn't very good at
Well, we do
maintaining
know that.
professional or even personal relationships, evidently. And whether it has to do with the bullying he received as a kid, his urge to talk over everyone in the room, or his own jealousy of those he perceives as more talented than him, once you get past all the smoke and mirrors and ignore all the culture war BS that surrounds his erroneously played up macho man persona, what else do you have left? A failed comedian turned professional crybaby, helplessly pleading to be liked by anyone who will listen.
But we're talking about bullying. The reason that bullying in high school.
You know what his biggest issue is? He has a fat face. Like he's in shape. He's in like decent shape, but he has a fat face, so it doesn't show.
Yep.
That's my issue too.
What are you talking about? You want to cut your
Yeah, but I'm like crazy ripped under
You're
this.
crazy ripped.
yeah,
Like my
that's
face
true.
should be
Yeah,
different.
true.
Fishing for more compliments. Alexi, you're hotter than Steven Crowder, all right?
Way hotter.
Fuck yeah.
There we go.
Way hotter.
Okay, anyway, back to what you
Takes
were
on
saying.
Dua Lipa are bad. You're way hotter than
I
Steven.
actually take that back now, because I saw a picture of Gal Gadot.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, she's hot. I'm like, why? Like, you know, I should have some.
You should have some
consistency in my ability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, you
just listed the two most beautiful women.
That's
on
what
the
I'm
planet.
saying. I'm saying they're both beautiful.
No, he saw the picture of the fucking shower photo of her that it was going. Everyone
No,
was
he sent me that.
I sent
I
that
said,
to
no,
him.
sorry.
No, he said no, sorry. Then he showed me, and I said, Alexa, look in the background on the shower.
That's
then
why-
he saw
I know-
that,
I know she
and
had-
he
That's
said-
why
and
I
he
showed
went,
you that photo.
Whoa.
No, I
he
didn't.
did that reaction.
That's why I showed
And
that
now
photo to
he's
you.
changing-
No, I didn't.
The lights on.
Stop. Oh, come on. Oh, Jesus. Okay, yeah. So that the
she's
shower
hot.
photo changed your mind?
Yeah.
No. Well, I don't know if everyone's crazy about that. It's like, what, before that you assume this person didn't have sex?
No,
No, but it's like, you know now, like
Well,
how
you can
You
imagine
always
it.
knew. What do you mean?
Yeah.
You can imagine it more.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it is hot.
Okay, good.
Wow, dude, brave, brave. Oh, did you see this?
No.
What about now?
What about now? It's a attractive person.
It's so hard. It's so hard for him to admit.
Why? He's never.
I know why, because she's an Albanian nationalist, and so am I. Little does he know.
Yeah, because you're all Turks.
Yeah. Well, everyone's Turks. So are the Serbs.
Is so unbearable, or in the workplace, for example, is because it's chronic, it's systemic. If you have a boss or a supervisor,
hope
who's a bully,
Steven
you
watches
still
this
have to
video.
go in the next day.
There's
The real
probably
problem there is you
I
have
just
to
feel like it
face
won't
that
affect
bully
him.
every
He's-
single day. There's no way to get away from it.
I think he lives with himself every day, so that's like torture enough for him. You know what I mean? He knows. This is like also a deeply insecure man. You know what I mean? Deeply and undesirably insecure man.
That's a big defining factor for me.
Since the beginning of Steven Crowder's career, his main mission has always stayed the same, to provoke. Only nowadays, he's doing it under the transparent guise of pseudo-intellectualism, as he desperately longs for approval from a purely reactionary crowd. He doesn't possess the talent needed to make it in the entertainment industry the usual way, so instead, he had to find another way in, by misrepresenting data, spreading lies, and bankrolling hatred. I personally believe these efforts are a calculated.
I'm shocked he didn't put the bisexual Mr. Hyde in here.
That sounds like a great bit.
He has talked about it. He's like, when bisexual Mr. Hyde rears his ugly head in college. That's what he said. He had like
He
a
has his
Q&A.
own.
Yeah, he said he went through a phase in college.
What?
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a phase. You know what I mean?
Way to cover up his own insecurities and just be taken seriously for once in his life, even when it means limiting his debates to unprepared 19-year-olds, being a contrarian edgelord for attention, and destroying every professional relationship he's ever had. It's not a compliment when I say Steven is consistent in his beliefs, meaning he seems to live by all the horrendous shit he preaches on his garbage radio show. And where has it gotten him? Hated by all his peers and estranged from his former partner. From the information we have, it looks like Steven ruined his own marriage on account of treating his wife like property when he thinks he can get away with it. Hillary appears to have endured his abuse for years and is still facing the wrath of Steven's words publicly, like when he threatened to release her mental health records if she didn't back off. This is a person he's been devoted to for the past decade. If he doesn't respect her enough to not attack her on a massive platform, why
So
should
she
he
doesn't
be
have a
given any
platform.
level of respect by anyone? Steven Crowder is someone who should never be taken
Like,
seriously.
see, he's in shape, but fat face.
Interesting.
See what I'm saying?
But I think he also does it to himself with his like neck beard.
Because he doesn't have a
Honestly,
chin.
shapes
He doesn't have a jawline, so he
You
has
just
to
own it like Bashar al-Assad, you know? Just go out there strong.
How was that the first person you thought of?
I'm always thinking about the Dr. Bashar al-Assad, the Lion of Syria.
And his chin. An apparent lack thereof.
You don't know? He's like the most chinless guy I've ever seen.
Is he? I've only seen him from good angles.
Oh, yeah. You make sure your feed's sanitized.
Yeah.
to oblivion for his disingenuous arguments, his weak attempts at humor, and
Doctor.
shameless abuse of those his Christian morals teach
Was he
him to
an
love and
optometrist? He
cherish
was, right?
I don't know what kind of
unconditionally.
doctor.
Stephen
I think